Good afternoon, racing fans. Edison Hatter here for In the Money Media as we head our way to Lexington, Kentucky. The Red Mile Stakes underway on this huge closing day card down there. 15 races in total. It includes the Kentucky Futurity. They're racing live right now. In fact, they're going to be stepping on the track shortly for today's 9th race. And, well, I'll be here live with you. Mike Pribozie, Thomas Fenton kicks off the day with us. We'll have a lot of other people in and out throughout the day, and they'll be here to join us throughout the live stream. And again, we'll be live through the end of this Red Mile card. So something a little different, something a little exciting here, Mike, as we get ready for the last leg of this trotting Triple Crown in 2023.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic year. Lots of talent, lots of fun races. I think this Grand Circuit meet has been excellent, even though it's been dominated mostly by chalk. We've had a couple big prices today.
Yeah, Thomas, so we saw the pick six earlier today. Two of those 6 legs, they were won by the longest shots on the board. We kicked off the day with a 32-1 winner. We've seen an 80-1 winner. And we've also seen formful horses like Al Raja 1 pay $2.60 or so. So a little bit of everything on the card so far through 8 races.
I'm not sure Thomas can hear.
We have Thomas with us. Hey, you know what? We got Ray Catolo's jumped in now, so we'll throw that question. We'll throw that question to Ray instead. Hey, Ray, the question at hand is, we've seen 2 of the longest shots on the board win. We've seen a $2.60 winner now, Raja. We've seen a little bit of everything today. And I think you said you've noticed a front-end bias.
Yeah, and also for once, I think a Ray Catolo bias because I'm live in the payoff leg of this pick 4 that I'm trying to wrap up. But it's been finicky all this meet being the last 2 weeks, because certainly you could argue like a horse like By the Missile, he came from somewhat off the speed, but a lot of the time the horses that are caving, they're caving in the stretch, whether they've been on the front or whatever. And sometimes that's because it's a long stretch and the kinds of horses, maybe they veer and waver or whatever. But today specifically, and I think it's because there's also a headwind, if I remember correctly, that was also in play yesterday. That specifically, like in the Filly Futurity, you saw Bravo Angel vault by Hard on Fire. Al Raja won. I mean, he won the way he always wins. By the Missile went right by Allywag Hanover, who came to a total stop after going 53 up the backstretch. So I don't know how the headwind is playing right now. I imagine that's probably why we're seeing so many horses coming from off the pace today. But it's that Red Mile perplexing for sure.
Okay, we'll try going back to Thomas. Thomas, do we have you? Maybe not.
Yeah, I'm here. It's a little bad. It's a little bad connection. But I hear you guys good. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, Thomas. So what have been your impressions so far this afternoon?
Yeah, Alarja won. I was happy to get even money in the Scandinavian pool on him. So. And I got 1-2 on this Sylvia Hanover. So the shark is paying decent in the Scandinavian pool.
How are they so dull that they would let Al Raja go at even money when he was 1-4 here? That's crazy.
It's a little bad. It's bad connection.
Hopefully we can get our audio.
He was coming off a loss, though, Ray. I mean, to be fair, he was coming off a loss. He was facing a couple of decent horses.
Everything we saw of Al Raja won, whenever he's on the mile track, he's unstoppable. If I remember correctly, he pulled off a win at Plain Ridge. But aside from that, I can't name you any small track wins that he has, and it doesn't favor his style. He had +9,
but even still, he came off the injury. Okay, he was able to win that Maple Leaf Trot, but then since then he lost prior to that, and now people were taking 1-9 on him today. That's, I don't know. I mean, against legitimate horses too. Right?
So
come on, 1-9 shot. Give me a break.
Everything I saw of him, there was zero reason why he should lose against that group.
So our intention was really to discuss and focus on races 10 through 15 live, but they're on the track for the 9th. We got a little bit of bonus time. So after this 9th race, I suspect we'll get a longer post time before the Filly Futurity. So we'll talk a little bit more about what we've seen so far today. But in the meantime, Ray, you're the one, I think, of all of us that has handicapped this race more so than Mike and I. We're kind of quickly peeking at it. But what did you make of it? I think you're playing the pick 4, big pick 4 carryover. So what do you see?
I'm not playing. I'm live. I'm the lowest I'm live for is 300, and the most is 1900 if the 2 can somehow pull a repeat win in these deeper waters. These overnight races are, they used to be late closers when during the Grand Circuit meet, but they've moved to this open format to just let the horses pull in however they will. And to me, what made this race so tricky is a horse like the 6, Please Let Me Know, who many of us are familiar, was the Messenger Pace winner last year and has been off the track since July. I know our boy John Rallis is a big fan of this guy because pretty much any horse that has 2 qualifiers, John goes, "This horse is a saint. He's unstoppable."
He loves qualifiers.
But I mean, the qualifiers are okay. He was second to Ammo in his most recent. For me, especially given the circumstances of how he was performing before he hit the bench, even in a group like this, I couldn't take him at a short price. The thing that stuns me is that Natamari is taking as much play as he is right now at 3-1. He's the co-favorite with Please Let Me Know and Working on a Mystery. Now, the 5 and 6 have more back class than most of this field. But to me, Natamari is one of the biggest underdogs in these kinds of overnight events, week in, week out. I mean, remember earlier this year, he pulled off a massive upset in 148-2 at the Meadowlands in like a non-winners at 20,000 pseudo like open pace type of class
with a perfect trip too.
And that was the other thing is that, a guy like Brian Sears, most likely he's not going to be in a huge hurry. And with how the speed's playing today and a bunch of horses in this race that don't really seem particularly strong on speed, this is a guy who can kick home in 26, maybe even sub 26 if he's following the right helmet. And I guess all the other money is noticing that exact same thing, which is why he's 7-2. It's also weird because, I have a horse like the One Horizontal, and it's always tough when you have like a 3-year-old in against horses like this, because even though Horizontal can pace in 148, she's still against older horses.
Do you have the 2?
I also have the 2 because
the 2's good. I think the 2's very sneaky here and is not getting very much action in the win pool.
Absolutely. 15.
We have a John Rallis joining us. We have a John Rallis slipping in here.
Yeah, John, tell me why the 6 is going to crush me for some reason aside from the qualifiers.
Well, the horse has class, and the qualifiers. I mean, listen, like you have to you can put stock in qualifiers because it depends on it's all situational, right? I mean, this horse is coming in a race like this off 2 qualifiers. He's primed for a big effort. We've seen him be able to take on horses even tougher than these right now. So you have to like the connections. You have to like the draw. You figure he's going to get himself a good trip. I thought that was a good. Again, some people don't know how qualifying speed's going to translate to like actual race speed. He went 1 mile and 49 and change, right? I mean, he was cutting the mile. He went some pretty quick quarters. I think that this horse is primed for a big effort. I'm singled for for just a solid amount. But
what's your opinion on qualifiers, though? I mean, I realize stakes horses, that's a little different thing, but these are more like upper levels and horses that have to go really fast off the bench like that. That bothers me? That never bothers you, but it bothers me.
I don't use horses off qualifiers all the time. I think I have to really like the qualifier, obviously. But obviously, Mike, that's a big angle of mine. And I think that's, if you date back to handicappers based on even 80s and 90s when they've been playing, I think that's a really, really strong angle. You want to know why? Because I don't think 80% of handicappers watch qualifiers. And that's the biggest thing why I think that it's pivotal.
I don't watch them. That's why it's 9-5 right now.
I think that they also see the 25 final quarter. I think they see the 49 and change mile. But I do think that this horse is capable to go that, a big mile tonight, though.
All right. Well, it looks like they're getting ready to move into line. So we'll go to producer AJ here to.
I got 3.
Yeah, Thomas.
I got 3-1 in the Norwegian pool. Please let me know.
Well,
no offense, but in this open pace as they are behind the gate, ready for the start. I better mute Gabe Pruitt in my ear, or I'm going to be hearing double things over. Actually, Ray Catola has done this the past 2, but Ray, I won't put you on the spot yet. But you probably got a couple race or 2 coming in the future for you.
What do I have to do?
As they are off in this open pace, so working on a mystery. And please let me know. Both quickly leave from the center of the gate. Natamari far outside, looking to mix it up early with Horizontal cutting through down at the inside. Looks like Tim Tetrick and Western Sierra going to come away in about the 5th position. And to the outside, Berries for Yannick Gingras looking to get in 5th here in advance of Can't Stop Lou. Looks like Natamari's had to take back after the leave attempt 3rd last early on. Too Proud and Syracuse Express, the 2 back markers. Please let me know. 8-5 here in the States, 3-1 supposedly overseas. Leads the way here early. Working on mystery at 5-2, sits the pocket spot 2nd. Horizontal, third across the apparently downhill backstretch there at the Red Mile towards the half mile. Western Sierra sits in fourth from Berries, who is fifth. Next at the inside, Can't Stop Lou, as Nada Mary starts into the outer flow. Too Proud, second over in that outer flow here, and Syracuse Express shoots the gap at the inside. So 27-second opening quarter, heading to the half mile. Please let me know. Still in front here. 56 for a half mile. That's a 29-second second quarter. Please let me know. Things going his way here so far. But up on the outside, Berries first over is rushing towards the top here. Working on a mystery, continues to stay locked to the inside now. Nada Mary is second over with cover at 3-1 here on the board at post time as they make their way to three quarters. Please let me know. Please let me know. Looking to dig into the inside. To the outside, Berries applying heavy pressure. These two stride for stride as they make their way past three quarters in 1:24-2. And they make the way for home here. It's Please Let Me Know, trying to dig into the inside. Berries is there from between horses. Now, Nada Mary off cover, trying to come down the center of the racetrack late. Working on a mystery, shakes free late at the inside. Please let me know. Still there at the inside. To the outside, Nada Mary working on a mystery, splits late. And here is Working on a Mystery. Up late after Please Let Me Know. Please let me know. Working on a mystery. Working on a mystery. Working on a mystery, I think, over Please Let Me Know. I don't know. Ray, what about that angle there?
Yeah, Working on a Mystery, split horses. Nada Mary didn't look smooth the entire. I'm surprised that he got third with the way he was traveling that mile. But that's the Red Mile I know, where I can't cash anything to save my life. The back class held up ultimately.
That was tough though, because the 5 didn't look like it was really going anywhere, and then all of a sudden, I mean, there's 3 horses in front of that horse right now, and somehow the horse just kicks and wins. I mean, that's a lot of class though.
I was gonna say,
you made $1 million.
You remember when that horse was with Brian Brown? He's capable of much more than this, and I don't know what kind of quirks he's had to overcome. But yeah, once he was given open road, maybe he's
really reaching out there.
Yeah, just claustrophobic or whatever. I'm reaching out.
One there in race 9, 150-3. Thank you to AJ for showing us that feed there real quick, and we'll slip back there throughout the day for the other 6 races we still have left here to discuss. Working on a mystery scores in that open. So with the group we have here, we have some time, obviously, and we'll get back to discussing soon the Filly Futurity, which will be next on deck in race 10. But with the group we got, let's discuss a little bit of what we've seen so far. Mike, we'll start with you. Race 1 today. Well, that was a way to kick off the day. Had 32-1 winner, the longest shot on the board, and the bridge jumpers really had to hold their breath with MM's Dream just barely clinging to third late.
Yeah, like I said, about 25,000 on to show on MM's Dream, and MM's Dream had been going very well. I mean, really just crushing almost every race that she's been in, and but not today. Really didn't have it. When you get a 1-9 shot that doesn't have it, that tends to get chaotic. The odds don't necessarily matter. It looks like the other 4, the 3 of the horses were bet to similar odds, and then you get the longest shot that wires the field. They obviously thought that horse was coming back. It never did.
Well, John, in race 2, we saw Grace Hill go on and score there. 149-3, kicked in 26-3. A victory for owner Tom Hill, Virgil Morgan Jr., Doug McNair. Obviously, horse you're pretty familiar with there with those up north connections, and obviously seeing this horse quite a bit up there as well.
Yeah, just business as usual. It was just a pretty soft division that she hooked, right? And you see that Dougie, he really likes giving this mare a target. Obviously, a different style of racing over at Dayton. Outside dry, I'm sure he wanted to just get her in position, and he ended up just cutting that mile. But I do think she's better when she has a target, and she showed it tonight. But just really, those mares aren't at her caliber right now.
Well, Thomas, I guess you were the big winner in the third race if you claim you got even money overseas on Al Raja. In fact, completed a Svanstead trifecta. Al Raja won, Southwind Tyrion, Right on My Cage, 1, 2, 3 for Oka Svanstead.
Yeah, I got even money on him. It's just a little over even money on him, and he got the perfect trip. But Aki saw he was coming first up. He go out and he got second over trip and wrapped up over the finish line, and Rattle My Cage saved third. So it was a lot of ones, like when he's racing on the mile track, he raced with no overcheck, no head pole, nothing. So maybe on this little smaller track, maybe he need a head pole when it goes so fast. So he is just one of a kind, a lot of one.
Ray, that last strike appeared to be on the inside corner for my Baltimore Orioles. It really should be the end of the inning, and somehow the Rangers have the bases loaded in the top of the first inning. We're going to get out of this, right? By the way, I got my Orioles sweatshirt on today. Here.
I mean, it's a tough thing, baseball, because you gotta hit the ball, and then you gotta hope no one catches the ball unless your guy catches the ball and it was a ball. Because if it's a strike, that puts you in a tough spot. Then you got to get to first base and hope no one gets you out of second. And then you got to get to third and forget about getting home. Like, that's not barely anyone gets home.
Nobody cares about baseball right now.
All right, Ray, we'll ask you something you might know more about. How about the fourth race? The Open Pace, 138,000 on the line. By the Missile scores a 147-4, a 26-2 kicker. I guess it might not have been as exciting compared to what we saw in last year's Open when they went 46 with Allywag over Bulldog, but By the Missile continues to add to that $1.6 million bankroll.
I think every baseball fan tuning in would agree, though, with everything I said there. If it was 70 degrees and not overcast, that race goes in 46. By the Missile was clearly tired, but that it makes me wonder how fast Confederate's going to go later against It's My Show. Just because
how fast It's My Show is going to go in beating Confederate, but fair enough.
But no. In all reality, it kind of pumps up the mile. Went by Tattersall, a horse that I've been talking about ever since that he blew my eyes out at Oak Grove. Because Tattersall he's an interesting animal. He fell down in a post parade, got scratched, came back the next week, clearly looked like he was dealing with stuff, and the week after that looked like an absolute monster. And John and I were watching him at the Meadowlands. It seemed like they were still just trying to figure things out with him. And he blasts that 25-3 final quarter to just miss by a length to By the Missile, who wasn't losing. To me, that's the takeaway. Is I got an even stronger eye on Tattersall, but By the Missile, he did what he was supposed to do. I was amazed he was 4-5 for as long as he was, and he only went off 1-2. He should have been 1-5 in that field.
Yeah, Mike, Gabe Pruitt, Jessica Otten, and Hollywood Hayden doing a great job with the on-site coverage there on the simulcast feed down at the Red Mile today. And they mentioned it in the pregame that the conditions they were seeing there, they didn't really think we'd be seeing any world record-y kind of times. And I think that 47-4 mile from By the Missile was probably the clue that we're not going to see those kind of times today, but still a fantastic card of racing.
Yeah, and I think Ray wanted to bet me last week that Confederate was going to go, 55 or something? Or
all right, Mr.
45
Meteorologist.
And I'm like, yeah, absolutely no freaking chance whatsoever that it was happening. Do you remember this conversation?
I do remember, and I also am not one who looks at what the weather is supposed to be a week
when you're
out.
making a bet, you might want to think about that.
I was. Here's the thing, though. That field, the case stands that field, under the right circumstances, does it. It's My Show.
You can what if
get
everything you
there.
want.
Hey.
But they're not going to be going any world records today. Let's just put it that way.
John, we know you give us all sorts of long shots. Did you have speaking volumes in the fifth race? $162.84. Jeremy Bobbitt up just in time over Look at My Rap Sheet. An 80-1 upset winner and 51-1 in the Open Pace.
Well, if you want to know how my days go in, I mean, I bet Tattersall 14-1, and he raced his eyeballs out and just never got clearance at all, and the mile just came up the rail. I bet Dexter Dunn in that race, and he got nipped by speaking volumes. And I found a nice long shot in the second leg of the Bravo Angel. It was a big single for me, and then I got nipped at the wire. So I'm right there in every race. So I'm seeing things well. It's just you need a couple of things to go my way, but it's been a profitable day so far.
Worth noting with that fifth race, when we're talking track trends, I think that was the start of some of the guys noticing that you can't be making that brush up the backstretch, because Dex did that to make up like 6 lengths, so like a full second into a 55-3 half, and that did him in. And then, in the race that we're going to talk about next, Andy Miller did the same thing with Little Expensive, and he folded completely. And then you see a horse like Please Let Me Know in that most recent race. He went a more rated trip, and I still didn't get him home, but he only missed by about a neck there.
So, Thomas, the sixth race, we saw a consolation futurity trot. Prince of Honor scored 52-1, got the job done as the even money favorite. Now, that was the 11th win of this Grand Circuit meet for Todd McCarthy. With Dave Miller winning the last race, it's now Todd McCarthy 11, Dave Miller 10 for the leading driver title. Dexter Dunn has 9, Tim Tetrick has 8. That's your top 4. And with that win in the 9th race, Ron Burke stretches his lead out to 8 wins in the trainer standings, 5 for Tony Alanya and Noel Daly. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the afternoon as well. But Prince of Honor got it done in the consolation.
Yeah, it did. And when Karapinska horses get down to the Red Mile, he's been doing very, very good when he's been stable down there. You can see that on Mamma Mia Volo. She's been stepping up. We've been chasing her before that. And Prince of Honor, he's just been a very, very good racehorse. He's 11 for 16 in his career now, and he got the perfect trip there. I was hoping Yannick was going to get the Gmon first there because he was a little long shot in the Norwegian pool and in the American pool. So it was a good performance, but it was the trip who did manage to get Prince of One the win in that race.
Ray, how about the 7th race, the consolation for the Filly Futurity? Bravo Angel. Tony Hall gets it done off that second over trip with cover 155 flat.
You really want to talk about this race?
I was going to say bravo, John, for making – as I was putting together my pick 4 ticket, I was 178 in that race, and then John was telling me he loved the 6. He loved the 6, and I didn't like the race altogether. I thought every horse that was going to get bet was not really worth it, so it made sense to just throw the 6 on off the last mile she went. And the crazier thing to me is who can name the last Philly Trot Stakes race that Jonas Zernissen won? It's been kind of a dry spell for him, and he got Bravo Angel home. Clearly, a filly that had some kind of turn of foot. It was a slow mile because they went a slow clip, 55. That race probably could have gone a couple seconds faster, but no discredit to her because she came home like 26 and change. John mentioned to me under a death grip. Hard on Fire second. I'm going to echo what Greg Reinhardt said on Twitter. I think in years to come, we're still going to be figuring out how she won that Hambo Oaks elimination. Simply a stellar performance that night. She has a knack for just making a move too soon, and it's somehow costing her. I'm curious what she does going forward. I expect something to come from in the future. But she just didn't really have the kind of turn of foot you need in that final quarter sprint for third. But that race was more John than me. He was all over Bravo Angel.
It was a terrible drive by James McDonald with Warwick yesterday. Like if you have seen Swanky Hanover before, when you walk up to the half, you know you're gonna get a free, go to the lead and retake. You know she's not a horse who should be down there. And if he was in the lead with Warwick, James McDonald, I think you have a decent shot to win this race where they win in 155. It's not like we're gonna remember any of the horses. As I agree with you, Ray, on about betting this race here. The horse who was sharp, she got scratched, and Heart of Fire, she was winning the Hambletonian Oaks elimination. She don't gonna do that if you try 99 more times. So
yeah. I don't think it would have. I think I agree with the sentiment that I think maybe James probably shouldn't have followed that filly, but I don't think it would have changed the result. I think Bravo Angel was just too good, much the best today.
I'm not sure if it wouldn't change the result because you watch that replay. He was back in the bike. He clearly was restraining Warwick, and when John, you and I were talking, especially with just how this meet's going, there was a part of me that thought, watch Swanky Hanover somehow pull this one out of the fire. and she was on the lead, but no, it was kind of one of those betting puzzler races where you benefited from going against the horses that were going to take default play because of the connections, and it worked.
So, Mike, last race real quick, then we'll take a quick little break here. The Glenn Garnsey division, 3-year-old filly Pacers in race 8, Sylvia Hanover, 149-4, and we'll get to our Facebook comments before we head to this break, but one of our Facebook comments says that Sylvia Hanover's definitely become the front runner for the O'Brien Horse of the Year with that 49-4 mile.
Horse of the Year, I sort of doubt that, especially with Confederate around. I'm sure Ray will probably lose his mind here in about 5 seconds. I mean, she's
O'Brien
9 for
Horse of the Year,
11.
though.
She's racing pretty well, obviously, and she dodges some of the big ones in this race, and it was another crush job at low odds, and she's awesome. On the big track, I think big track, she's just really, really tough to beat. I don't think any of these fillies can beat her no matter what on a big track.
Well, that's race 8. Race 9, we were here with you for that open. And again, JV Varnell with that comment there, listening on Facebook here today. And Mark Anderson as well, thanking us for doing this. So appreciate people tuning in here to this live stream. And race number 10, the Filly Futurity, is now 6 minutes away on the board. They'll be on the track here in a couple minutes. $20,000 guaranteed trifecta pool, a $3,200 super high 5 carryover, 9-5. Right now, Mamma Mia Bolo, the favorite. It's 2-1 on Bond. And we'll come back to discuss this race after we take a short time out here. We'll be back in about 60 seconds.
Ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba. Ta-da!
still have very bad connection. I don't know what it is. So.
Mike, are you at work?
Yeah.
Nice. You're the man.
Alrighty, we're back here as we prepare for the 2023 Filly Futurity, and I'll try to keep us updated on people as we go along. So I just got a text from Wendy Ross, U.S. Trotting Association. By the way, we thank the U.S. Trotting Association for their sponsorship of this show. She said she'll be joining us after this coming race, so hopefully we'll get some insights from her in person down there, since she's on site there in Lexington. And we also get Kevin Ploucher joining us, and we see that lovely dorm room background for Kevin Ploucher now going forward. Kevin,
Got the picture, baby.
last one in. I guess your prize is you get to be the first to give us thoughts on this Kentucky Filly Futurity, as we still have 2-1 co-favorites here. Mamma Mia Volo, the slight favorite over Bond.
Is that my punishment? Because I got here late, fashionably late, so I need to be the first person,
whatever you want to call it,
to give an opinion. Well, okay. Let me preface by saying I haven't necessarily looked at these things too much. Edison, you sent me the. No, I'm here for entertainment only. No, but. All right, first thoughts is that Mamma Mia Volo being the favorite off of that win back on September the 30th, where she kicked him 25-4. Honestly, it kind of makes sense to me because this is Bond's first time here at the Red Mile, and she hasn't raced, well, just 1 week earlier, but her head win in the Elegant Image final. It kind of makes a little bit of sense because you have that recency and you have that win, a huge win for Mamma Mia Volo. Really curious to see if there's any money at all put Rose Run Yolanda's way, but we will have to see about that
right now.
Yeah, I know. I think the price could be a little bit lower, and you could make some nice use of those long shots. That Sylvia Hanover win, I cut a little nice piece of that exacta because I had been following Sweet Ramirez, and she won that race at the Meadows in 50-3, but hadn't won since then. So I caught a decent exacta there. It was like 18-2, but hey, you gotta make do with what you can get on these chalkier days. My opinion for win, I will pick. I like Mamma Mia Volo off that last win, but 2-1, I would like a little bit better.
We have 11 trotters on gate with connections that Thomas is pretty familiar with. So Thomas surely has to have a good horseman's perspective for us, maybe a little bit of equipment shoeing, some sort of insight on this Filly Futurity, Thomas.
Yeah, I come back from Lexington yesterday, so I don't have so much information. Special way of scratch 6, she had a little fever. So that's like the question mark. Special way with Tim Tetrige's music in my ears. Mamma Mia Volo, she's been stepping up. We never seen that before. Walnut Payton, she won without shoes last time, and nobody did know about that. So I wouldn't be surprised if she raced without shoes again. I think. Having Hanover's racing without shoes too, like they do from the Swedish barns. I'm not sure with Bond. It's a little wide open race. Special way, it's the horse for me, but when you get scratched over a sickness, you always have a question mark. So it's wide open for me, this race.
If anyone's wondering, I'm also without shoes today.
Well, Ray,
I'll report it.
Ray, I'll come to you next after John first, because you always, I know, have some sort of random insight of, wow, so-and-so looks really good warming up or whatever. So the post-parade's coming out now. We'll let you watch it and give us the insight.
All
John,
right.
in the meantime, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a great betting race, and I think that Thomas kind of touched on it. We always saw the potential with Walner Payne, but she never really showed it. And obviously she goes a nice mile and trots home in 25-3 last time out. She's got an inside draw. I mean, listen, I think Bond's reinvented herself a little bit, right? I mean, we've seen her always wanting to cut a mile. Then, told me when even off camera and when I interviewed him that he realized he just couldn't keep racing this filly on the lead. And she did get hot that one time, but he just said, I got to reinvent herself. Needless to say, she came first up in that race over at Woodbine Mohawk Park in her most recent stakes win. And, I thought that she was going to kick home a little bit better in the Elegant Image, right? That's what I expected. I think with post 9, she's going to be forced to chase again, but maybe there's some other rivals who are going to maybe get the jump. Maybe she's kind of stuck third over. So I'm going to try. I think I'm going to try Walner Payton.
I've been pretty high on Bond for a while, so I guess I got to go back to her in this spot. Currently on the board at 3-1 here. Is actually Special Way has really come down in money, down to 5-2 here, Mike. Off of that 6 scratch, what are your thoughts? Is now a 2-1 co-favorite. Another click of money. You're now 7-2 on Bond.
I mean, she's lost one race this year. She's had her issues, obviously, and was scratch sick after missing another week, and now into this big race. I think it's probably a little short. I mean, I know her talent is extreme, but this is tough. I mean, a lot of these horses like this racetrack. Walner Payton definitely moves up over this racetrack. This Mamma Mia Volo has been awesome over this racetrack. So and then you have some others in here with a lot of class also. I mean, Bond is still Bond. I mean, she's, she loves to win. 13 wins in her life, and she doesn't like to lose all that much. And Ock ends up there. So that I think that says something too, because he drives both of them, and the fact that he ends up on that horse, I don't know. I'm sure he wants to work some particular trip with her. I think that might have something to do with it. But there's others in here that can win, especially if the chalks go at each other. And, like right now there's value. Like now Rose Run Yolanda, I know she had no Lasix last time, but she responded pretty well without that. Kicked 26-1, really didn't disgrace herself. Now you're getting right now 16-1. That's a pretty decent price on that horse. And you're getting 6-1 on Walner Payton on a track she likes, and she could get another trip. Those are the two prices I'd be looking at. I
should note though, Mike, that Aki he went to Bond because he does own that filly.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. Yeah, that probably makes more sense then.
And Mike, if you want to have some dollars on Rose Run in the Scandinavian, she is 45-1.
Wow.
I
think that's a fantastic price on a horse that was 6-5 against most of these last time. I mean,
okay, put Walner Payton right into it.
I think we need to know Mike's best bet here on the Red Mile circuit, because he's been lights out at Woodbine giving up.
All right, we'll get to that later. But
let's talk about
this. Orioles. That's the important thing. That's more important, right?
Screw your Orioles. Let's talk about this point. Okay, Mike's talking about 18-1 on Rose Run Yolanda, but you're not going to see this kind of trip happen for Heaven Hanover again. She's the same price. She looks good on the track. You're getting a more patient driver in Brian Sears to give her the kind of drive she wants after going on the lead, not being able to hold on the lead because she's not an on the lead horse.
What happened to Timmy though? Why would he get off?
Because the only argument is that Special Way is better. So it's like Special Way is supposed to beat Heaven Hanover in, we'll say, like 60 out of 100 matchups, maybe more. But you're talking about the long shot angle on Rose Run Yolanda. All I'm saying is Heaven Hanover was 7-5 last out. She's gonna get her beneficial trip, and to me, with the draw, she's a much more live long shot with more potential to land onto the ticket than I think the 10 from that post, unless Royal Philly is really revved, which she doesn't look right now, isn't gonna have the speed to get into the race.
Mike, before we forget here to mention it for anyone tuning in and listening, 11-horse field here for the Filly Futurity, 10-horse field for the Futurity, but with the scratch, we still have the 11-horse. Those 11 horses will start from the second tier, which I think we've pretty well agreed in our times on the show is more beneficial than the far outside post.
I mean, yeah, because even though you're trailing, you're still the 10 hole is pretty tough to win from. 10 across. I think that one trailer is really not a disadvantage. I'm sure that most owners would disagree with me, but
my hoodie's in there, dirty.
Well, I'm not sure what Kevin's doing, but
it's cold. I can't figure out how to get warmer.
11 post, not a terrible detriment. I'd rather have the 11 than the 9 or the 10.
My thing with the 11 with that filly specifically is she can get steppy, so that to me makes her job even harder. It's easier to come from the second tier if you're a better gated horse, But with her specifically, her
She's
benefit
come from anywhere better gated. I bet. I'm pretty certain of that.
I mean, to her benefit, she can come home in 26 and change. So at the very least, she should be able to at least land probably somewhere mid pack and have a better chance of getting into the flow than 21 the one shot Rose Run Yolanda. I would rather use Quick Stop underneath than the 10 in this spot.
So, got a couple moments left. They're warming up. Again, a $20,000 guaranteed trifecta pool in this race. Carryover of $3,200 in the Super I-5. So that means we want long shots underneath in these exotics. So, John Rallis, we'll start with you. Because between you and Ray, those are the two I'm counting on. Give me the wonky, like 50 to 1s that can finish like third. What's our big price in here?
I think that there's maybe Blonde Bombshell can maybe stick around for a big piece of this year. I mean, she's pretty handy. She's got the gate speed. She can she's showing a little bit of versatility. I think she draws well where she can, stick around early and hang on late.
Ray, give us your 50 to 1 bomb.
I mean, shouldn't she been better in a lot of these spots? I mean, there's been spots where she's looked like she's supposed to be, to win, and she just doesn't seem to find it.
Oh, she doesn't have to win, but I think she can hit the ticket for sure.
That's apropos to her brood or to her dam though. Also, Hey Blondie was that kind of filly. I think she was in the same year as Check Me Out and Maven. Which, I mean, if you're in that class, if you're second fiddle, that's nothing. If you're getting checks there, that's still a tough thing to do. But the thing that I realized with Blonde Bombshell, she's lanky. She's a lanky girl. Her legs are really long. That's all.
So Ray Catolo does the press stuff down at Red Mile. So Ray, I'm assuming we're probably going to lose you after this race for after the Futurity. So are you prepared? Can I give you the 11 horse field to call?
I mean, I can. Yeah, sure. To me, I think 15 to 1 on Heaven Hanover, just given what she's done before. I understand she's been kind of wonky. I think that's probably the best kind of price to stab at in a race like this. I don't see any of the other long shots having a potential to maybe even win the race. And the tough thing with that too is because Heaven Hanover is going to have to come from off the speed, but I don't know what the speed's going to be now because Royal Filly has been the pace catalyzer in this division, and she did not look like she wants to roll. So I'll be curious how this goes.
So I have called a grand total of 53 races this weekend now, right? Something like that. 19 at Yonkers, 30-something at Freehold, and 1 at the Red Mile now on this live stream. So now we're going to get Ray Catolo's first call of the day and his first call since probably filling in for me at Freehold like 3 weeks ago. And then it gets more interesting when we get like John and Kevin and Thomas and Mike. We'll make all of them call races.
I'm surprised we don't have any audio.
I would
4 to 1 on the 2 now.
All right, so 2 to 1 here on Mamma Mia Volo, 5 to 2 on Special Way. We have 7 to 2 action on Bond, 4 to 1. Walner Payton, double-digit odds. The rest, the field of 11 coming in the line for the
Mambacita at 19 to 1.
Yeah, good luck with that, Kevin.
On the line. 3-year-old Philly
Underneath.
Trotters. Ray, the starter calls.
Yeehaw, folks. The Fillies are flying. Kentucky Filly Futurity. This is the 58th one. So that means for 58 years, this race has been run. That dates back to 1970 something, if you can believe it.
Year?
Who knows? We'll find out who wins this year in about 2 minutes. Because hi-ho, they set sail. Blonde Bombshell pushes through from the center, and then Special Way to her outside. Mambacita, hard to wrangle and pressing forward to the first turn. I'm calling this with the same energy as Pruitt, I just realized. Secret Volo to the inside fourth. Walner Payton, headstrong again, done feeding her racetrack to the outside to swoop up. Special Way in tow, right in behind. Blonde Bombshell secures the pocket for now to the first quarter. Secret Volo fourth. Quick stop from the second tier fifth. Mamma Mia Volo then sixth. Mambacita had to get wrangled back to seventh, and then followed by Royal Filly eighth to the inside of Heaven Hanover. Bond second to last. Rose Run Yolanda, guess what, Mike? Last. 28 and 1 up the backside. 9 to 5. Special Way leads by a length and a half. Walner Payton back in second. Blonde Bombshell about 3.5 lengths off this leader third. Secret Volo a steady fourth. Quick stop looking to get rolling from fifth is Mamma Mia Volo rolling out of sixth. Uncovered here for McCarthy. Towing there Mambasita threw a 56 3/2, 28 2 second quarter. Now cover for Mamma Mia Volo to the far turn. 5 lengths to make up here. The deficit on Special Way in her return leads by 2. Walner Payton been tracking all the way. Secret Volo plying forward from third with Blonde Bombshell stuck to the inside. Mamma Mia Volo still about 3.5 lengths to recoup wide of Quick Stop. 2 3/4. Special Way. Here comes now the challenge from Walner Payton in 124 3 and 3 high mounting here. Mamma Mia Volo. The charge here after Special Way. She's trying to hold on. Walner Payton between Mamma Mia Volo motoring down the center. And let's call it here. Mamma Mia Volo. That's it. She won. She's the winner. Walner Payton back second. Blonde Bombshell going to grab third. Special Way holds fourth from Bond. Don't know where she was coming from in fifth. 151 3.
She was last early.
Yeah. Ray, were you listening to Gabe while you called that?
Well, that was pretty much the same thing.
That's well done. Well done.
Because I have Gabe in my ear and I'm listening to you, and you literally just copied Gabe.
Yeah. No, I mean,
but should Todd McCarthy go and take Matthias Melander to dinner to Jeff Ruby's tonight?
So that's a 5th win for Carter Pinsky as a trainer. He now closes in on Ron Berg's 8th here, and Todd McCarthy stretches out the lead to 12 over 10. David Miller is second there in the driver's standings to the Grand Circuit meet here at the Red Mile, and the Filly Futurity, it goes to Mamma Mia Volo, Mike.
Yeah, she's been awesome here at this racetrack. I think that has moved her up significantly. These past couple races have been fantastic. Huge late kick for her. She just crushed. I mean, you give her a perfect trip, she's probably going to win. And Walner Payton was great again. Some of those horses from the outside post, just no bueno.
Yep.
Mark Anderson's listening on Facebook. Unfortunately, we didn't get him before the race, but I assure you, I vouched for it. It was sitting there before the race. He said he liked the 3 in here, so he got his winner. 8-5, though, went off the favorite. But if we want a little more value around the favorite, John gave us that. John, Blonde Bombshell finishes third. Hopefully you had this try.
No, I mean, I played some exactors with the 2 and the 5. Bet the 2 to win. A perfect trip. But just Mamma Mia Volo was just tons the best. I mean, the 1 wasn't advancing in front of her. I got the setup that I wanted. It's just Mamma Mia Volo. She's way too sharp right now. But yeah, I wasn't surprised that Blonde Bombshell hit the ticket. Like I said, she's shown a handiness in the past. She drew well. You had to figure that she was going to get a stick around late. I couldn't like Special Way or Bond in this spot by virtue of Special Way. I mean, Thomas touched on it. I understand that OK's been able to bring some of these fillies back and off layoffs, but even earlier in the year, she didn't have that same. She wasn't as dominant. I know maybe she needed a couple starts to get tight, but we've seen her like crush, and she just doesn't look like the same filly right now. Bond drew the outside draw, so I think that there was value to be had underneath, and I think that Blonde Bombshell, by virtue of where she drew and her handiness, I think she showed that here. And 43 to 1 is a great price in some exotics.
I mean, this right here, this is the story of the Red Mile, though. Ultimately, every single year, these races go one of two ways. It's like you can handicap to all ends, and sometimes these races go where it's just like some guy says, I'm 90 to 1, let's go to the lead, who cares, we're gonna go eat afterwards. And then you just have races like this where for the most part it plays to form. Mamma Mia Volo's been the sharp horse. She wins as the sharp horse. Walner Payton's been a sharp horse. She got second. The sharp horses excel here. And to echo something Thomas said earlier.
Like the racetrack excel here too. And then those two do.
I mean, yeah, but the point stands that the obvious tends to happen here, where you think this kind of horse is trending in a positive direction. Most of the times they win. And another thing to say, as I was saying, to echo what Thomas was saying earlier, Carter Pinsky's barn is always hot here every single year. I have not seen a year since he sent horses where he's missed. Simple as that.
So I say this for the sake of our listeners out there and also my panelists here. So our goal is going to be take a little bit of a timeout to give ourselves a chance to take a breath after every race here. And we'll come back on the other side and obviously finish reviewing the last race and preview the next. And more importantly, we're going to try to time it with the interviews so we can all take a chance during the timeouts to listen to these interviews. So I'm sure we're going to get Hollywood Hayden here in the winner's circle with the connections here, Mamma Mia Volo, after their win in the Futurity. So Kevin, thoughts on this race, but we might cut you short if we get an interview coming up.
Yeah, that's fine. Mamma Mia Volo, I think, was just much the best. 8-5 wasn't a price that I was willing to take a shot on win-wise off that 5-1 morning line, but proved to be much the best when Secret Volo wasn't going anywhere. But Walner Payton, second at 7-1. That was better than what I thought it was going to be as they were heading to the gate.
So it was 3-2-5-7 unofficially in race 10, and yeah, we'll get an interview here shortly. So in the meantime, we'll preview for what's coming up. Again, 15 races on the card today, 11 through 15. We'll still have coming up next the Tattersall Pace, race 11. We'll turn our attention to next after this 10th race. The Glens Guernsey. So we saw the first division with Sylvia Hanover. Second division comes up in race 12. The second division of the Tattersalls come up in race 13. Race 13, that's a really big one. We're waiting to see. That will be the matchup between Confederate and It's My Show. Which I believe I heard, and I'll credit Hollywood Hayden for saying this in the pregame show, is the first time ever we're going to see sub-47 3-year-old Pacers square off. Race 14, we have an open, just a $14,000 open there as the little appetizer before, of course, race 15. That's the big one, the $450,000. The 131st Kentucky Futurity. Ray, how many years is that? What year did that start then?
So 131, if you do that math, it would have been...
Math. You said 58 years ago was the 70s. That'd be the 60s.
Oh, okay. Well, 131, that has to be at least... So Rutherford B. Hayes was at least in office at some point, and the country would have united. Under what circumstances? I imagine some. I don't think they agreed on everything, and they still don't agree on everything. But that would be 1921. No, 1931.
1921.
Right answer. Great math, you're right.
All right, wait, 131. 1899.
And you know what? I doubt it was continuous. I'm sure, like war years. I don't know. I'm guessing it hasn't been continuous. Best guess.
No, it absolutely has. No, it's not like Newmarket where they handled the 2,000 guineas because they have to land airplanes on the racetrack. They run it every single year.
Bond was 9th, by the way, for that Super High 5 carryover for those playing along. It's a 3, 2, 5, 7, 9. Those numbers unofficial.
And it had that carryover too.
10th, and yeah, we're just standing by.
Don, you should have that.
Standing by before they go official, so
I didn't, but
where did Bond even come from? I didn't even.
Bond was last at the top of the stretch.
It is official now. 3, 2, 5, 7, 9 official race 10.
I got 3-1 in avian pool.
That's good.
They really are not sharp bettors over there, are they?
No, yeah, he's getting everything he wants. Yeah,
Thomas, we'll talk about this. We're gonna go to our break here now, but you know what? We come back on the other side. We're gonna have to ask you at some point. So if you're getting the 8-5 here at 3-1, we got to find out who is the underlay over there. Because someone else has to be being bet more than, right? Just basic math of a bookmaker. So we got to discuss that with you. But for now, we'll go on and take about 2.5 minutes here.
It was very even. It was very even. Mamma Mia Wolo having Hanover. I don't understand that. Having Hanover was 7-2. Special Way was 7-2, and Bond was 4-1. So it was a very even. And the pool was okay. There was almost $7,000 in the win pool, so you can't go hard. I had $50 on Mamma Mia Wolo to that just on the Norwegian pool. You can't kill it. It's two small pools, but I'm gonna text Todd McCarthy to bring Matthias Melander to a good steakhouse.
Alrighty, well, for now, again, results official, 532 on the winner, Mamma Mia Volo. That dollar try with the guaranteed pool, $160 and some change, and $500 or so for the 20-cent Super High 5 for 20-cent tickets. So we'll go on. Yeah, we'll take about 2.5 minutes here. We'll join you on the other side here. Hopefully, we all get a chance to listen to the interview here with the winning connections of the Filly Futurity, and we will set up race 11 up next, the first of 2 divisions of the Tattersalls Pace. And we're back here on the other side. Perfect timing there. We caught that interview. So we heard driver Todd McCarthy talking about the trip. Got it to work out here today to win with Mommy and Bolo in the Futurity. And we heard from trainer Karpinski as well, giving some insight into the future plans. Sounds like it's going to be up to the owners or not. No answer from him as to whether or not we will see Mama Mia Bolo at 4. But he did say what's up next, and that will be, of course, the Breeders' Crown for her. And it seems like a lot of horses, of course, on this card will end up there. As in fact, we have 7 of the top 10 horses in last week's top 10 poll on this card at the Red Mile today. So a lot of stars we're going to get to see in action, and that will go on and continue here in this 11th race. The 3-year-old Tattersalls Pace, $236,000 on the line, and 7 colors. John, last time we saw each other in person, in fact, the first time we saw each other in person, also the last time, was at the Jug. You know what? 7 colors was huge that day in both of those efforts, and 2-1 right now. He's a co-favorite on the board, along with the Ken Hanover, who finished the 3rd in that Little Brown Jug final, and we're seeing 3-1 on Cannibal, who of course got torched to that 53 2.5 in the Jug.
Yeah, I've already got my bet down on Ken Hanover. That's where I'm going to go here. I think it's a great betting race. I think 7 colors has proven to be that. Maybe he's arguably the second best 3-year-old pacer in the sport right now, right? Because you know what, like he's just been really good. But I mean, how much stock do you put in what he had to do over in Delaware, right? I mean, those were 2 big heats that he had to go. I mean, those were a lot. We have to see how he comes out of it, right? I mean, those were not easy trips, Edison. You and I both saw it in person. But, you know, Andrew Harris, he's done a great job with these horses. Spoke to him even after the Jug, and he's really big on this on the cryo chambers, right? He's really invests a lot of money in that. He helps keep his horses fresh. It's not cheap, but you know what? It works because he's sending out horses that are racing really well. And 7 colors ever since he's gone into his barn has just been great. You know, if he's sharp enough, definitely he's the horse to beat in here. But I think the biggest tell here as well for Ken Hanover is the fact that Dave Miller chose him over Ammo. I know Ammo is not the sharpest horse, but we've seen him pledge allegiance to trainer Joe Holloway. Ammo's coming off a great qualifier, and he's opting for you know, Ken Hanover, who was a great second place finisher to Confederate last time out. I have to bet Ken Hanover, and I've already got
the one that made him 2-1 though. I doubt you wanted 2-1 here.
Well, I mean, I bet him early, so I mean, I'm sure the price will float out.
So, Mike, maybe this is really a question of ultimately what you think of 7 colors versus It's My Show, but I guess supposedly, you know, Confederate's obviously #1 horse by quite a few votes in the top 10 poll. So throw Confederate out. Race 11 versus race 13. Which division of these two do you think is tougher for these Tattersall Pacers?
Well, I don't know. I think the other race is tougher, but I mean, just you throw Confederate out. He's the one that makes it that much tougher. I mean, It's My Show without him in it would be a huge favorite. Whereas in this race, you have a couple, you know, really good ones. I mean, 7 colors, Cannibal is obvious. Ammo returning if he returns to himself. You have El Rey in here, Ken Hanover. So yeah, this is probably a lot more depth. But on the upper end, It's My Show or Confederate would be favorite in this race for sure.
So, Mike, with that in mind, as we get ready here for this 11th race, 9-5 now, 7 colors. Which direction do you go in this race?
I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I think Cannibal might be the best horse of this bunch. And he's proven here, you know, last week he likes this racetrack, and he's done very well over this track right now. You're getting 3-1 on him. 7 colors have done very well on smaller tracks. Now that Kane Pace against Confederate, that was a nice race, but I do think he excels in the small racetrack. He comes off of 2 really difficult races. I don't know. I'm not crazy about him, especially at a short price. I thought Ken Hanover got a perfect trip last time. Yeah, he wasn't going to beat Confederate. He's been knocking heads with some of the better ones too. He might benefit from this racetrack, but Cannibal right now 3-1, I think, is, and actually 7-2, extreme value on this track. He's going to be forwardly placed. They're going to have to catch him.
Yeah, Thomas, I've been pretty high on Cannibal all season, including in that Jug final. Obviously, that trip didn't work out, but if we toss that line out, the recent form's been very solid, and he got a start over this track here last week at the Red Mile. So that's where I'd land, especially at that 7-2, now 3-1 again price.
Yeah. I'm also on Ken Hanover. I love that horse the whole year, so I'm on Ken Hanover. And especially for me, who's betting little into the Norwegian and Scandinavian pool, right now he is, I think he was, he's dropped down to 5-1 now. So that is a good play, I think.
So, Kevin, what about your thoughts on this division of the Tattersalls?
Yeah, so you guys are mentioning Ken Hanover and Cannibal, who both came out of the Little Brown Jug and Little Brown Jug final. So they both came back to produce some really nice efforts. Ken Hanover chasing Confederate, and Cannibal came back to win at a short price, both on September the 30th. So 7 Colors, off of those, based on what those two did, I think 7 Colors is going to be ready, even though he didn't get a start in like the other two did. I think he's going to be ready despite this rail post. I'm not sure where Dexter Dunn will get him away, but he's shown just some monster races lately. Those 2 races, the 2 jug races, I mean, he was absolutely huge in both. And I think he's going to be ready to roll here. Right now, you're getting 8-5. Edison, I know you're going to go with Cannibal because you only make that mistake once of not going to Cannibal.
Does off Lasix bother you, Kevin? Does off Lasix bother you?
A little bit, but here, I don't think it'll really bother him because he's probably been, I don't know how long he's been there, but I think he'll be fine without no Lasix. But right now, 3-2, the odds are dropping as we speak.
I don't care how good 7 Colors has been. I think that there's some other great value on the board.
Yeah, I agree.
So we got a couple Facebook commenters chiming in here. So Mark Anderson likes the 1, so that'll be 7 Colors over the 2-4-6. So Admiral Hill, El Rey, looks like he's going to try a couple of double-digit prices in the exotics there. And JD Varnell is going with Ken Hanover in here over Cannibal. So it seems like amongst our group and your listeners out there, a lot of love going the direction of Ken Hanover. He's floated up to 7-2. Now, there was a late hit of money there. How about 6-5 now? 7 Colors comes down significantly here in money. And Mike, you mentioned it. So, yeah, that's something we kind of notice, especially nowadays, really thoroughbreds, harness, kind of everything. All these different rules going on with Lasix and kind of direction Lasix is going in general in this sport. You see horses in here like Ammo, Ken Hanover, 7 Colors. They've all been using Lasix recently. They don't here at the Red Mile. 7 Colors, though, the only one that's used it in his last race, and you're right, is the only one off of it here today.
Yeah, and in Kentucky, you're not allowed in these stakes races to use Lasix, and a lot of these horses are on Lasix, consistently, and then now they don't have it, and I would say that's a negative. If you're a bleeder or you have any sort of semblance of needing Lasix, and now you don't have it, I'm sorry, but I don't think that you're going to improve. That's just my opinion. Now they could overcome it in the sense and still win and still thrive, but given a choice, I don't like that. I think it's a definite negative.
All right, well, according to producer AJ, I think we have Wendy Ross with us, who is down there in Lexington. And hey, there is Wendy Ross. So, Wendy, thanks for joining us. Looks like a beautiful day down there in Lexington, Kentucky. And what have you made of the action so far?
Hi, guys, and thank you so much. I mean, well, a little bit, not a total upset in that Filly Futurity, but, this filly was bet down pretty good. But I was looking other ways. But, yeah, so it's cold here. I'm in my coat. I have a blazer on. So don't let that it might not look that cold, but it's very breezy here. It's about a high of 50. No, not a lot of sun. So it's chilly, but, it's still really great racing.
Yeah, Wendy, I asked my contributors earlier to try to guess on this stuff, and, we're just guessing, but you're there at the track, so you can really give us the insight. So I heard Jessica and Hollywood Hayden and Gabe kind of mention in the pregame show, we didn't really think we'd be seeing 46s or 45 kind of miles today, and we kind of saw by the missile go 47-4. So was that the clue that we're not looking for world records today?
I definitely don't think it's the type of day we're going to see world records. But the thing is, if he went that fast, how fast would he have went? If that's how good the track is, even with these cold temperatures and that wind that's pretty strong up the backside there.
So, Wendy, we were just discussing your race 11, of course, which on the track behind you, the Tattersalls Pace, a field of 9, 6-5 right now, 7 Colors, currently the favorite off of the 2 really impressive efforts out there in Delaware, Ohio, which you were also at. Your thoughts on this race?
Yeah, it's a 174. I don't know. I kind of could throw in, I really like the 9. I've liked him all year, and I liked him in the jug. It just certainly didn't work out for him there in that final with the 8-hole. But yeah, I think 7 Colors, with the rail in here, big effort from him in that jug elimination and in the final. So he I think it's just going to set up for him to be good. But here's the thing, and you guys have seen today's a little tricky of a day. Nothing to say it's, it has to be the favorite. So I think this is one of those races that, especially in this group, you could go other options. But 174 for me, the 7 Cannibal, the other one coming was in the jug there, and then race came back and rebounded and bounced back to get that big effort in the bluegrass down here. I think Cannibal, this is the kind of track it sets up for him down here. post 7 not going to be, I don't think, a big problem. And I think I just see how it plays out with Dexter, how he takes advantage of the rail in there.
Wendy,
does it bother you no Lasix for 7 colors? Does that bother you?
I think when you go no Lasix, it is a thing. If a horse has got to be on Lasix, he needs Lasix. So I don't love it. Does the 1 start really bother them? I don't think you could get a 1 start out of it. I think, but you don't really. It's one of those things you don't really know until after the race. But I think he still stands out amongst these in here. And I think with the rail, as I said, it's going to put him in a good spot. Will it affect him in this start today? Maybe not. Will it affect him maybe going into the Breeders' Crown, because sometimes it only takes 1 start to take him out for the rest of the year. So is today a big factor? It's cold today. I don't think it might hurt him afterwards. And I would think that see if he can rebound from this, like I said, heading into the weeks prior.
So Wendy, obviously you've got some USDA work to do, so we won't have you with us the whole time throughout the afternoon. So we'll sprint a couple races ahead. Can you give us a couple thoughts into that 131st edition of the Kentucky Futurity, the 15th final?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting race. For me, 7, 5, 3, 10 is where I kind of looked. I had to go tactical approach, and here I feel like he deserves, just from how he's been throughout the season. And I think I think we know what his game plan is going to be today, and it could set up. I don't think the front end's been super great, so that might be a little bit of factor. But the track is certainly set up for the front end speed. It's just how that like you said, that wind up the backside. They're going those slow halves, but guys, trust me, they kind of have to, because it looks still when it's still, but when that wind kicks up, it's really strong. The 5, well, I was expecting things from him. We'll have to see how he favors the 3. Now, Ferrari J is the one that I really like in here. Coming out of the Sire Stake final there, really raced well. I feel like he's going to be the one, I think, that can kind of shake things up, and it could be a surprise with the scratch of the 1. So that's going to move everyone in a little bit. And also the 10, Killmister, he's going to bounce in here and move into the 9 hole. Don't leave Killmister out, especially off that effort in the bluegrass, and in the most impressive up mile that I think we've seen from him all year. But guys, we're getting ready for this upcoming 11th race. But thanks so much for having me on, and I hope you have a heck of a day. And we got a lot of great racing left coming your way.
Well, thank you, Wendy, for joining us. And they are indeed on the gate here for the Tattersalls Pace, race number 11. And they are off and pacing the first of 2 divisions here of the Tattersalls. And we're seeing Ken Hanover leave quickly from the center there. Cannibal far outside. The Diamond Creek colors there. That is Yannick Gingras driving, trying to blast off as well. And now scooting through there at the rail, Doug McNair and Admiral Hill going to take the early lead here. 7 colors, Dexter Dunn into the pocket for now. We'll see for how long, as Ken Hanover is there next in 3rd. Cannibal's going to be able to slot down in 4th. 5th, coming away is a Combustion in advance of Act Fast. And then we have El Rey, Ammo, and Redwood Hanover. So there is 7 colors out of the pocket. And 7 colors went off a 2-1. The third choice here, Ken Hanover and Cannibal. They were the co-8-5 favorites as they passed by that 27-1 opening quarter. So as Wendy Ross told us, they're heading into this headwind here down the backstretch, and it is 7 colors. And Dexter Dunn on the point here by a length and a half over Admiral Hill second. Ken Hanover looks pretty anxious to go on from 3rd, and Cannibal is now out and moving. Ken Hanover just able to slip out in front of that one. Combustion scoots through at the rail as they pass by the half mile. 55-2, so that's a 28-1 in the second quarter here for 7 colors. 7 colors leads the way, but is going to get immediate pressure here from Ken Hanover. Ken Hanover first over right up to the leader's wheel disc. Admiral Hill locked to the inside still. Cannibal is second over with cover. Next is Combustion to the inside there as they make their way towards 3/4. And 7 colors still there at the inside. Ken Hanover, though, a ray alongside to the outside. Cannibal, right to flip 3 wide off cover. 3/4, 123-1. They're into the stretch here in the first of 2 Tattersalls Paces in 2023. And it is Ken Hanover and 7 colors going at it. And here off cover comes Cannibal. Cannibal looks to make a late rally. It's El Rey trying to screw through up the rail late. Far outside is Act Fast. Several of them across the track coming towards the line, but Cannibal has the nose in front. And Cannibal drawing clear late. It is Cannibal. Oh, wow. El Rey made a dive up the inside. So I've called 2. Ray's gotten a blowout. No worries about it. I've had 2 fairly close finishes, but Mike, I think Cannibal?
Yeah, outside angle, I think there at that racetrack, I think Cannibal got there for. I'm pretty certain.
But the very
perfect drive.
At the very least, John, El Rey was definitely very quickly in front of him past the line, and the camera guy's sticking with the 6. So take a peek and see what the result shows there.
I think El Rey got there.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
Nothing would surprise me.
Camera guys are right 999 times out of 1,000. So if the camera guy's sticking with the 6,
what's Thomas say? He knows.
It's gonna. That's clear cannibal. I would be shocked if because yeah, that's at least ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that angle, the way it works there, because I'll tell you, the real one was TCI.
That's cannibal. If you think you've won by a nose on the inside, then it's the outside. So yeah, it's cannibal.
And I think we saw that in the TCI Carl race on Friday, right? So
well, John's seen it like many times for the whole meet.
Right, Edison, if you saw how many photos I've lost here.
If anybody knows that angle, it's John Rollins.
Yeah.
Now our camera guy's going to Cannibal, so that's probably a positive sign for Cannibal bettors.
You could drive a truck through there. Come on.
Was anyone surprised by 8-5 Ken Hanover?
I want to know why you picked 7 colors in the race, because that was just, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Kevin, you know what? Come back next year when you're more polished.
I will.
There's a lot of
I have to go now. I have to go now anyway.
Oh yeah, so
now he's leaving.
Wait, Kevin, can we keep you for 2 more minutes?
Sure.
Okay, because we got to get everybody's, and I'll make sure I mention these at the end for those that are sticking around. We got to get everybody that was in here's opinion on the big race eventually. But all right, we'll wait here. I'm staring at the feed here. We'll get you those numbers when they come, but we're pretty confident.
He took the feed off before the photo came up.
Well, I got it here in the background. We're good. We don't need it. We're good. We'll get the numbers here. At size 7. Yannick's coming back very confidently in this Warner Circle. He knows he's got it, and I know that I finally cashed money on Cannibal again after that jug trip. All right, well, while we wait for this, Kevin, you go here in the meantime. So race 15, the 131st Kentucky Futurity. What do you have for us?
Yeah, give me a tactical approach off of his win in the Bluegrass.
Ooh, okay, you're following Wendy in tactical approach. Okay, so that is 2 votes. Tactical approach. We'll get the rest of ours in due time as we go throughout the afternoon here. And
Moneyman overdue to win a race.
He doesn't win. He hasn't won that many races recently, you know.
Yeah. No, he needs another big race on his card. Not like he's won that many lately at all.
So let's see. We still have no numbers. Now we do. Let's say they're ready to put the blanket on Cannibal, so it better be Cannibal. 7-6-3-4, 7-6-3-4 in race 11. You know, there's all those Gabe Pruitt angles. I think that's maybe another Gabe Pruitt angle is just like, let's just hold that photo finish before putting it up. Build the suspense. Mike, that seems like a very Gabe thing to do, right?
Yeah, very much. How about, though, I mean, the price on El Rey, that was a fantastic price for him in the race. So they bet those 3 horses. He got lost completely on the board. That was just a ton of talent.
I don't have it in front of me, Mike. What was he?
I think it's like 27-1.
That's a pretty good number there.
It was a good number. It's just he's disappointed all year, right? I mean, he was racing in the Kentucky Commonwealth. I mean, he just hasn't really been able. He's got some good trips and couldn't get it done. But at the end of the day, he's got the talent. We just don't know when it's going to show up.
But
right?
John, look at his last 5 races. I mean, he's been sub 2-1 in all those races, and now you got 27-1. I mean, I realize it's a different kettle, but holy man, I mean, that's crazy.
I guess so. Did Cannibal go off at 8-5 too? I thought he was
8-5. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm not surprised. Like I said, I'm not surprised by how poor 7 colors was. I think it really is. I think Ray, Mike, you touched on it about the, losing Lasix. I mean, I don't mind it so much if it's first start out, but again, when you've been brutalized over those trips in Delaware, I think it's really hard to come back and ask a horse to do some, go a big mile again. We saw Ken Hanover be able to do it, but Ken Hanover didn't have to go the trips that, 7 colors did. So, and Cannibal obviously was able to bounce back and go a big mile, but 7 colors, that was rough stuff.
That was a couple things with him though. I think he's better on the small track. I think the no Lasix, and I think the tough trips. I mean, those are 3 things, and now you're getting a short price after missing time too. I mean, come on. There was a lot of strikes against to take that price on him. I mean, I don't know. That was brutal.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look here going forward at some of these will pays for some of these races. It might give us a little bit clue into what we're looking at when it comes to prices, because that was definitely a really late swing of money for 7 colors to go about 6-5 to 2-1, and then likewise Ken Hanover and Cannibal to come down to 8-5 co-favorites. But Thomas, what'd you make of what we just saw in the Tattersalls?
It was the trip. It's always many times the trip. Like normally Yannick is the guy who is aggressive. This time it's not many times I see Yannick have second over and wins. He either wins clearing to the front after the first score, go to the lead directly. So the trip won this race. El Rey been waiting for him the whole year, but every time I bet him, he never wins. But today he would little better luck. He the winner. But the trip won this race.
Mike, I just realized I got a text there from Derek Givner in the background while you were chatting, I believe, several minutes ago. He agreed with you. He thought the off Lasix would be a key for 7 colors today.
Yeah, we need to get Derek in here if he's bored. Somebody send him the link.
You know, you know what? If he's listening in, now he knows I'm going to forward him this. I thought about it. I was going to earlier, but I know he is on site down there, I believe. So I just assumed we had him busy doing other stuff. But I guess maybe I have to. And if he's listening in, we'll hear this. Otherwise, I'll text him during our next timeout we're going to take, which we're going to go to right now because we see Hollywood Hayden with Yannick Gingras right now. So we'll be back in about another 2 minutes.
Who is winning race 14? Alrighty, we are back here. We heard the Hollywood Hayden there with Yannick Gingras with the winner's circle after Cannibal gets the job done there in race number 11. Race 12 will be up next to Glenn Garnsey, and I stand corrected. Derek Gifner is actually home. He has left the Red Mile on Wednesday, so he will be popping in with us eventually when we get back around to it. But yeah, so Glenn Garnsey is the second division. Sylvia Hanover won in 49-4 in the first division. Okay, maybe this is. Well, I don't know if this is either a question or not. I don't know. I was going to say, John, which division you think is tougher? I was going to say with how good Sylvia was, maybe it's obvious. But Twinbee Joe Fresh, I'll admit I haven't been as high on her. Maybe I should be at times this year, but she's been pretty good in her own right.
She has been pretty good, and I wish that. I mean, obviously we got to see them square off last time out, but I really wish that. I really wish that Dexter maybe would have been aggressive with Twinbee Joe Fresh. I mean, I think that we've seen the blueprint to beating Sylvia Hanover is to kind of go to the front and try and go really fast. And we saw Dexter do that with Twinbee Joe Fresh over at Pocono. And, Sylvia Hanover made a rare miscue for her. But then he opted to kind of follow her, which I don't think is the right approach because we haven't really been able to see a filly out sprint Sylvia. So that was not a winning approach. I would have loved to see them score off one more time and see Dexter maybe, tactically just go to the front and try and really put the pedal down and just keep going. But we hooked them at different divisions. I think the first one might have been a little bit tougher. I'd have to say the first one was a little bit tougher.
Mike, these are some incredible pick 5 will pays. So $37, the chalky version is for Twinbee Joe Fresh. Next shortest price is $300 and some on Strong Poison. Then we've got like a $1,200 horse, a $15,000 horse, and a couple 4 out of 5. So that is to say that 1 to 9 on Twinbee Joe Fresh on the board, that might just about hold in this field here in this division.
Yeah, playing 1 to 9 in Maltese and deservingly so. I mean, she's been the best, sans Sylvia. No Sylvia here. Strong Poison really hasn't been quite as, I don't think quite as good. She's right there. She gets her checks, but as far as beating the top one, she hasn't shown she's been able to do that. So unless you know, something last week took something out of her. I mean, Twin View Joe Fresh is supposed to beat these horses, but it is Lexington, and you know, we saw an 80-1 shot earlier today. So, and big, sometimes these big horses go down.
So, Thomas, $10,000 pick 4 pool starts right here in race 12. The final 4 races on the card. Is it worth taking a swing against Twin View Joe Fresh, or is it a single?
Nah, it's a single. It's a single. I'm gonna try to see if I can get away from Confederate. It's not like it's only so, but I was down in Kentucky, and they have had the problem with this right front leg Confederate. He jumped over the spa where they cool down the legs, so he jumped over that. So he got a little big in the front leg that they've been working on the last couple of days. So I know he trained before I go home. I saw him on the track. So, but he's always worried when I know they have working on the right foot on him. So I will see if I can beat Confederate. I don't think I would, but the percentage is going to be a big favorite. So I think I need some help in race 4 because who is winning that?
Well, we see Derek Givner joining us, but Ray Catola will go to you first. Ray, you've obviously been doing the press stuff, so you've been busy listening in on those interviews. So we heard stuff from in race 10. We heard from Nose Connections, heard from Karpinski, we heard from Todd McCarthy, we just heard from Yannick in race 11. Anything of note you found in the interviews that I probably didn't already mention?
I mean, I think it's always insightful when you hear the trainer say this horse has been good all along. She's great at home, good attitude. Otherwise, not really a whole lot to take away. You can definitely read in the lines of like Mamma Mia Volo. There had to have been something they were working through for her to progress and improve to the point that they were at now. Carter said that she had some soreness issues, more specifically, that she was dealing with. And that's something we don't think about a lot of times when, we watch these races. And it happens at the Red Mile too, with where some of these stakes fall on the stakes calendar. You'll see good horses maybe go less aggressive miles over a track like this because in 2 weeks it's the Breeders' Crown elimination. So it just reminds us as handicappers that there's a lot more to these lines than just the bottom of the barrel of these horses' performances. There's a lot of strategy of how they decide what trips to go and how hard to go in some of these races.
Well, we do have Derek Givner joining us, and Derek, I guess twofold. Well, I guess we'll start with just the general. So we've seen 11 races now. What have your impressions of the day been? And then, of course, give us some thoughts on this 12th race as they come on the track.
I never know what to make of these some of these races here because I think a lot of these horses kind of like are aiming for the Breeders' Crown more than aiming for these performances, with the exception of maybe Mamma Mia Volo, who I think was most certainly aiming for this race. I think 7 Colors, I texted you. I mean, that horse is a bad bleeder. So from everything I've heard. So to me, coming off Lasix was a complete, toss. And I actually might be interested in betting him next time back on Lasix in the Breeders' Crown.
So, Derek, for our listeners out there, can you just give us a general concept overview of, I guess, A, on-off Lasix, what exactly you mean for those who might not know what you're talking about, and B, and even I don't know this answer, to be totally honest, to be fair, well, give us, like, the major states, like, what are our rules on Lasix at this point here in 2023?
Well, other than Kentucky is really the only issue, whereas if you race in a stakes race in Kentucky, you cannot race on Lasix. But if you race in an overnight race, you can race on Lasix. I'm not sure why the rule makes sense. I think it has to do with the thoroughbred, folks and what they want the rules to be. Every other state, you could basically race on Lasix if you want to. I think there are some regulations against 2-year-olds racing on Lasix in certain states. Certainly early in the season, you rarely see a 2-year-old on Lasix. As far as how much, I think every state's also different, what the minimum level and maximum level is. I remember being in the paddock one time when Lasix was legal in Kentucky, and the trainer asked for 2 cc's, and the vet said, no, you have to have 3. So it was an instance where the trainer wanted to give less, and they couldn't. So it's very interesting. It does help a lot of horses as far as, it's known as the anti-bleeding medication. But basically it's going to help the horse breathe better, I think, during the race, stuff like that. But Thomas could speak more to that than I could.
Well, I was going to say, Derek, didn't DRF Harness a couple months ago run a piece that kind of talked about this issue specifically?
I don't know. I think you might have some knowledge on it. I know I wrote a piece on Lasix maybe a year ago, but I think more recently you.
I don't know. I haven't written anything ever, as a matter of fact. I don't think.
Yeah,
I work with her. I can tell a little about the bleeding and stuff like that. The biggest problem is, like, I heard Derek, you said you want to bet 7 colors when he's racing next time with Lasix. The problem now is that I'm sure if you scope him now, like we do 45 minutes to 1 hour after races, he bled crazy. So you'd start the process up the lungs. You give him like Dimesojug or Fulvazin, and then you go into the high pressure chamber and stuff like that. But the lungs is already hurt when he have bleed. Like we expect him to bleed today when he was so bad in the race too. So it's not like he's going to be sharp when he's heading into the race. Going, okay, get some couple of weeks to heal up. But the biggest problem is like when they already are hurt. It's when he is training next time, they train him maybe on little Lasix too. So it's going to be easier for him to bleed next time too when he's training. That's the biggest issue with bleeding. It's like it's okay to heal them up, but you don't know when they bleed next time when you train. So I'm a little off 7 colors into now. I will, if they go back, they will maybe skip this race.
Yeah, I will say, Derek, we must in Jersey have some sort of rule, just because anecdotally, and I should know this rule for working where I do, but I know at Freehold we've got 2-year-old sire stakes coming up next Thursday. There's 10 of them entered, none of them are on Lasix, so I think that's a clear sign of that. That must be a no for us in those races for Standard Development Fund. But race 12 here, we're starting to see them on the track here. In fact, let's see, what are we looking at right now? Andy McCarthy.
Looks like a head pull adjustment on Hungry for Love.
Yep, on Hungry for Love. It's Todd McCarthy, actually. So, Ray, $10,000 guaranteed pick 4 pool, mandatory payout. I mean, everyone's singling Twinbee Joe Fresh here, but come on.
Everyone's singling Twinbee Joe. Everyone's singling Confederate.
No, they're not everyone.
Okay, well, everyone but Edison is singling Confederate. Race 14 looks like a race that's gonna go crazy. I wish Ideal Ace was in that race, because he would have been the horse that would have made it incredibly interesting. He's a hardy Oak Grove speedster, but he scratched earlier on the. No, he was a scratch before the card. And then race fit. Honestly, I don't know what to make of the Kentucky Futurity. So that's a tough thing with a sequence like this. You're starting with 2 strong favorites, even if you're against Confederate. It's my show. That's just like a tit for tat kind of thing. You're maybe going up a point or 2 in your potential, but you got to be real precise on the shots you take in the later races, and they're not necessarily easy ones.
Hey, Ray, I know some announcers, shall remain nameless, and maybe got themselves in a bit of trouble or controversy for, like, in the past being like, oh, or, like rooting for a horse like in the middle of a race call. In this particular case, with you and I calling races in this format, am I allowed to be like, and it's my show, blows by, yes! Beats Confederate, yes!
It just goes to show what the lineage of harness racing media is, that no one remembers what Mike, Rod, and I were doing 10 years ago on the internet.
Oh, you know what? I've started to watch some of those in my own useless free time. So does that mean I can find you screaming all your lungs out for horses on there, and I can just do whatever then?
We did everything we could throw at the kitchen sink before we had to throw out the kitchen sink, along with the baby. It was a lot of things were done on that show that have kind of, it's like how they try to throw Lenny Bruce in jail every week, and then at a certain point he was like, let's see how I can go to jail this week.
I'm gonna say it out loud now, Ray. Just we don't have time for you to talk about it now, but I give you prep though. You're gonna talk about it afterwards when we come back, or eventually at some point when you're back around.
Well,
so this is closing day at the Red Mile. We're going to Cumberland Run, brand new track in Kentucky. You work at Oak Grove. That's another new track in Kentucky. What exactly is the new? What's this other track gonna be like? I think it's a 5/8, that kind of stuff, but we don't have time for it now here, but we do have time really quickly. JD is giving us a late pick 4 ticket. He'll single the 6th Twinbee Joe Fresh. He'll use It's My Show and Confederate. Then he'll go all in the 14th race. That's the one where I think everybody's gonna be counting on some sort of price to come through. And 257 in the Kentucky Futurity. And we will go to the feed here as they are making their way into line. The 12th race, the Glen Garnsey Memorial 2nd Division. So again, Sylvia Hanover in 149-4. That was the first division mark to beat.
2-5 on Joe Fresh. 2-5.
See how
She's
they
not
go.
1-9.
It
Are you
is
firing it in? Like you want that 2-5?
No, she should be 1-20. She will be.
We will see what the late money chose. You saw what it did in the last race. We'll find out. 115,000 on line. They're on gate.
No, they're on gate.
Ray, you can call the odd. You can call the even number quarters.
Okay, that's fine.
And we got a few things here. Though. Hopefully you have it up on your iPad, Ray, like I do, because they are off in the Glen Garnsey. From the outside, Strong Poison, Twin B, Joe Fresh, both into action early. Vivian's Dream down at the inside, away third. Now my call better be really good. We don't even have video to go with it. But Lisa Hanover is coming away next in fourth. There we go. Next to the inside, Hungry for Love. And the back too early, Front Page Story and Beach Cowgirl. They sprint their way to the opening quarter. Strong Poison has the lead. Twin B, Joe Fresh. There he is at 1-20 or 1-9, one or the other. Passing opening quarter, 28-1. Ray, go.
Yeah, Edison, terrific words. You've always been quite illustrative as they go up the backstretch. Twin B, Joe Fresh, Hubba 1-9, a length and a half better, and Strong Poison. Vivian's Dream at 53-1, just getting towed along with Bellissima Hanover in fourth. And in typical Edison Hatter fashion, he got all the action in the first. They're just rolling up to the second. No one's making a move. Why would they? Twin B, Joe Fresh, she's been the best so far. She takes them by 55-4. They look like they're speeding up to the far turn, Ed.
Well, you know what? You're going to get the action in the last quarter because for this third quarter, it's probably not going to be much either. It's Twin B, Joe Fresh still in front from Strong Poison. Strong Poison looks pretty strong here, though, on the helmet. It might have antsy moments here for the 1-9 batters, potentially, as Bellissima Hanover is blown up in the backfield. Vivian's Dream is still just being towed along third. Here's Hungry the Love to the outside now from fourth. Fifth is Front Page Story. Twin B, Joe Fresh still dealing with the pesky Strong Poison, but 123-3 for three quarters. And Ray, she might be starting to assert some dominance.
I don't care. Get bet, Ed. They're into the stretch. Twin B, Joe Fresh, now 3 lengths in front of Strong Poison with Hungry for Love toiling in third. Well clear of Vivian's Dream trying to battle for that minor spot. But knock, knock. Who's there? Is no one after Twin B, Joe Fresh. The bell is ringing. Strong Poison is calling, but she's too late. She loses by a leg, Strong Poison. Twin B, Joe Fresh, the winner. Back to Hungry for Love for third. 149-2. She should have gone a little faster.
You know what? Derek Gibner's race caller, too. We got to get Derek to call half of a race for us.
When was the last time you called a race, Derek? It was this year at Yonkers, right?
I called two full cards at Yonkers this year. Before that, it was probably many years.
That's what I was thinking.
149-2, Derek. That's 2/5 of a second faster than Sylvia Hanover for whatever we choose to read into times.
There's nothing to read into it. I mean, unless they race against each other, that's all that matters. I mean, and the key with those two is going to be, who's in front. Because I don't really see anyone passing Sylvia Hanover if she ends up getting in front. So I think what's going to end up happening is you'll get to that Breeders' Crown final and you're going to have Twin B, Joe Fresh going right to the front, unlike what she did when they met up last time and she decided to follow her. I think they're going to make Sylvia try to run her down, and it's just a matter of whether she can.
Depends on posts, too. Things like that, too. I mean, posts and some of that stuff does, kind of matter.
Well, we haven't mentioned how Hoosier is a tricky track as well, also with a long stretch where even if you're a sturdy pace setter, it tends to favor horses that can really hit their top gear, and Sylvia is that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and she likes a big track.
And sometimes the track, it's just you have to shoe horses a specific way for that track. It's an interesting place to hold the Breeders' Crown every single year. Well, every single year, but whenever it's there, it's always interesting.
I like when in Hoosier, to me, a lot of the local guys tend to do, much better than people would expect, so to speak. So you get one or two of those local horses that'll pop up and have big miles on that track because they know what they're doing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Beckham Z-Tam is one that comes to mind. And then, that one, that $50 bill, another one that I think that was that same year. That I think Cat Adams had that horse for Barnard. Trotting colt, 3-year-old. You don't remember? Okay, I do.
Before our plug, while we are here, we do have Breeders' Crown coverage coming up.
I'm Rayleighwood Hayden today for those.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday eliminations for the Breeders' Crown, the 19th through 21st. Yeah, that's correct. And then 27, 28, the finals for the Breeders' Crown. So we'll have coverage for both those weekends coming up next year on In the Money Media. And Ray, we do see Twin B, Joe Fresh coming back to winner's circle. But more importantly, here are all my Orioles hopes and dreams. It is 9-2. We were up 2-0. How do we get here?
It's amazing how all they had to do was add a clock to baseball, and now they cannot stop scoring. It used to be it was impossible to score in baseball, and now the pitchers are so antsy. They can't help but make people score. I see like 20-point games every single week.
The Orioles
Okay,
sweatshirt is disappearing. We're hopeless. It's over. But hey, look, I do have a Breeders' Crown shirt below it, though, so we'll show off for the Breeders' Crown.
The Breeders' Crown's terrific at baseball. You're right, Ed. I think you should put all your money towards that at that point.
So Mike, yeah, we should see an interesting battle of these two come Breeders' Crown time. Obviously, we did see them last week, though, a matchup here, but nonetheless, in their respective divisions, they were pretty dominant here today.
Yeah, I mean, they're the two best, and they got to avoid each other and, get another paid workout for, $60,000. I'm sure they enjoyed that.
So 10 wins, Dexter Dunn and David Miller, 12 for Todd McCarthy in the driver standings, and Ron Burke, 8 wins, Alanya Daly 5 each, and Pinsky 5. So I suppose Ron Burke has wrapped up the trainer's title. Driver's title, I guess, still supposedly on the line. I'm not really sure what we got coming up here or whatnot, but either way, we get ready to turn the page from race 12 to race 13, and with that, I think this is a Derek kind of question. We've been sitting on Facebook for a while. We'll answer it now. Do you think Confederate and It's My Show, depending on how they do at the Breeders' Crown, along with today, get invites for the FanDuel Aged Horse and Gelding Pace Finals on the 26th of November at the Meadowlands? And I think that's 25th at the Meadowlands, 26th, whatever day.
I think it depends on the rule. Like, I think the rules state which race is the most important. I think the Breeders' Crown Final is ranked number 1. So whichever horse of those win that race would get the first shot at getting into there. And then it kind of goes down the line with like the Meadowlands Pace or the Jug. Like, I don't have the list in front of me as to which one ranks higher, but that's how it would go. I know for a fact, well, I don't want to say anything's a fact, but I feel pretty confident that if Confederate, wins out through the crown and is invited, he will go and take his shot. Kind of like a, hey, let me go out and beat the older horses, and if I do, people might consider me the best ever, kind of thing.
And that's before his retirement, because we know he's not going to be racing next year at 4. Ray Catola should be very happy with his $2.14 he got on that win bet on the Joe Fresh. Race 12 in the books, race 13. That was a quick preview there. It's My Show Confederate, the big matchup up next in the Tattersalls Pace. Race 13. We will be back in 2.5 minutes on the other side to chat that second division of Tattersalls. short post time listed here for race 13. Just 1 minute on the board here to the Tattersalls, so we better jump right into the discussion. Dexter Dunn there chatting with Hollywood Hayden. Ari Ferrari J, he has in the Kentucky Futurity. He sounded pretty optimistic about the way that he's been going lately in that interview. And I think I heard Hollywood Hayden there mention the Andy McCarthy and Todd McCarthy, and I guess Andy as well. Their family in town, it sounds like, I guess from down under. So that's exciting for them there, as Todd is currently the leading driver of the meet. But let's jump right into it. Thomas, it's my show. Confederate, they're the two clearly taking money, 2-5. Confederate, 7-2. It's my show. Are you on one of those two sides, or are we really going price hunting? And better yet, what is it overseas?
Now overseas right now, I have it here. Now it's those two horses, and when I have a little question mark there with Confederate is 3-5, and it's my show right now 4-1, so it's almost even like it is in the US. Always a question mark when I was down there and I heard he jumped over the spa and hurt his right knee, but they've been working on it, and it maybe doesn't matter. But post wise, Saron have post. I'm on my pick 4 ticket. I have 1-9, so I'm want to have it's my show.
Derek, can we get around it's my show Confederate? We on one side or the other? What do we have in race 13? And fair warning, if you're sticking around, we're going to give you the 14th race to call, because I'm calling it's my show winning this one. I'm not even giving this to Ray.
Yeah, I'm not sticking around. I actually have to head out in a couple of minutes here. Promised the wife I'd help her with a couple of things.
And we'll give you the 13th, but you got to be very enthusiastic when it's my show wins.
Trust me, you got a long time before this 13th race goes off. I might not even be on by then. But Confederate, I just don't see how you get past Confederate at this point. I mean, all due respect, it's my show. I got to see it's my show beat Confederate here before I'd be willing to go against Confederate. Am I thrilled to run to the windows and go bet a 9-1 exacta for $4? Not really. I might take a shot using Hunt in the last dollar. You know, maybe a 9-1-2 try and a small 9-2 exacta. I don't know. I'm more excited to watch them race and to see if it's my show can, you know, give Confederate a run for his money than I am to run to the windows and bet it.
Well, Derek, then in case you do take off, we better get your thoughts on the 15th. We've got some of our other guests here. So the 131st Kentucky Futurity. We have 2 votes so far for tactical approach. Same from you or something different? I
really wasn't on the tactical approach bandwagon at all. Didn't really like the horse, and I was there last Saturday when he won at the Red Mile, and I was really impressed with that performance. I mean, he kind of won me over a little bit by showing that, you know, the ability to go to the lead and, you know, just control the race. I think it's his race to lose. I would take a shot with Air Power if I can get, you know, 6-1 or higher, somewhere around there. If he was offering 6-1 or higher, I'd take my chances. I think with the right trip, he could definitely win the race. I think he's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, well, back to the 13th for now as they are coming onto the track. So, Ray, once again, we'll give you the chance to watch whatever you want to watch on the track and give us insight. So we'll go to John first. John,
alrighty.
So Confederate 3-1, 1-2 now.
I mean, I can't go against Confederate. He's just been doing everything with ease. I do think that there might be some value, right? I mean, you see the discrepancies within exactors underneath. I mean, it's what's it paying right now with I think a 3-1 exacta is paying $5. I honestly think Bugaboo Lou's a nice player underneath. I know he's the third choice at 8-1, but I got nosed out on this guy last time out too, coming up the inside. I think he's really turned a corner racing for Ron Burke. I'm not really. Maybe he can stick around and maybe pick off It's My Show late in the mile. I know It's My Show is probably a better horse than him right now. Not probably, just is. But I like the way that he's been racing for Ron Burke, and I think that if you want to take a shot for some value underneath, I'm gonna play a 9-3 exacta.
Yeah, Mike, Bugaboo Lou from the 12-1 morning line, 9-1. You know, he's even shorter than that for a while, so he's the obvious other one taking money here besides the obvious 2 choices.
Yeah, the 2's taking a little money too, but I mean, most of your multis, most of your verticals are all going to run through 9-1 or 1-9, depending on what you think of the race. But that might be like John said, that might be the value, is to try to beat. If you favor one or the other, try to get the other one out of the exacta, and that's kind of feasible here. I think it's possible, and especially with the post dynamics and. You know, Confederate's going to have to probably make a long outside move, being where he's drawn. I don't see how Zeron lets him in front of him early, so he's going to have to catch him late. Meaning, I mean, and he might be the best, and it might not matter, but he's, at least going to be stung a little bit from that post, I think. And that creates value in other ways, especially if they hook up. Now, the problem is the depth behind them, as far as the talent goes, it drops way off. I'm like Derek. I think Hunt to the last dollar. That's a horse that's done well. 6 wins, 10 starts, inside draw, proved he could do okay over the track versus these. Kicked 26 last time. He's the horse I would try to get in the middle of that exacta.
Well, Ray, we've seen the on-track warm-ups. What do we got?
I mean, Ant's marching he's marching right now. I'm kind of curious what he's going to do after that WTH mile last week. Just from what we had seen of him before, I can't imagine many of us thought he would be rolling to a 3/4 in 120 on some kind of speed mission, and he somehow still finished 5th. He held on against Bugaboo Lou, El Rey, but he was quite on his toes today. I don't know if that indicates he's going to do the same thing. Confederate looked chill. He always looks pretty chill. Nothing really to discern and tie. This is a weird race to bet. I was kind of, when John said he was going to go 9-3, I was like, there's no possible way there's any kind of value. But with a horse like It's My Show in this race, you are getting your potential value in these exactas if you find any of these other ones, because all of the opinions say the best horses are going to go 1-2.
9-3 is $16 right now.
It was 33 when I just looked. Are you sure you're not looking at the dollar payoffs?
That could be the dollars, but
yeah, because I
prefer to work in the dollar. You're like the only person I know that works in the $2.
Well, that's because ExpressBet shows me the $2.
It's like saying 15-1 sounds a lot cleaner than saying $33 or $2. And
9-3 is offering 9-3 is offering $27 right now.
Yeah, it's going down because John's bet just got processed in the pools. So I don't know what it'll be come post time.
My question is, does It's My Show almost gut himself trying to be Confederate here to, kind of assert himself? And I mean, this is a big race, especially if he wins it. It really tightens things up.
But the Breeders' Crown is the big one. That's the thing. And that's where it's all going to come down to, quite literally.
But I mean, this race means a lot if he can win this race. Then all of a sudden, becomes extremely interesting in a couple weeks.
To me, the question is, I know Scott's not going to go to the lead. Scott's going to try and work some kind of simple trip.
Scott's not going to go to the lead.
What kind of trip is that, though? Because no matter what, if you have Confederate 2nd or 3rd over, he can lift that kind of speed that he can make up 4 or 5 lengths in the stretch, even in a final quarter sprint. A lot of that also goes into, what Thomas has been talking about, have what they've been working on. Does that impact him at all? Is he 100%? Is he 90%? Because that 1/5 of a second, that's what cost him in the North America Cup, among other things in the way. So I don't know. To me, this is a race to watch. Ultimately, I have a hard time putting any money on this.
What about Hungry Angel Boy? Just as a horse that
his ship is sailed.
Could potentially leave the gate here, gun to the front, and you can't really get down on him for that jug final performance, that really, and his juggling was fine. Last time he was here at the Red Mile, he raced well with Marvin Luna driving, so
no Lasix.
Paul McCarthy, he's been doing well.
To me, the party was when he was 80-1 in the Meadowlands Pace, and everyone was like, oh, this horse is going to fall down. There's no way he could possibly hit the board. And since then, what has he done for me? He hasn't done that. I don't want to be on the lead on this card either. So that's something that's also tough with that post.
He's not really going to be on the lead. No one's letting Hungry Angel Boy.
I want to ask you guys one thing though. Since you he's 1-5, it's relevant. But if you got 3-5 on Confederate though, would that be a win bet that you guys would make? I mean, considering that if you guys think he's so as dominant as he's shown.
Hatter would say that that's dead on the board.
I say It's My Show at 4-1 is the bet there if that's overseas. But that does remind me, for the record, Tom Daly, who works in our race office at Freehold Raceway, does some charting for us. He said Hungry Angel Boy was going to upset It's My Show and Confederate. So we should take note of that.
Ship is sailed, Tom.
I want to give him credit for that before this race occurs. Mark Anderson real quickly gives us a pick 3 for this race. Now, Ray, this is a bold pick 3. It's 9 with 4 with 1 with 0. With 7 with 8.
Ooh,
9,
0.
4, 10, 7, 8.
The only guy who can beat Confederate is Mr. Mike Pribozie at Breeders' Crown. He's the only guy who's done it.
13. Tattersall's Pace being called in. Do we get a Derek Gibner call here?
I don't know. If you really want it, I'll stay around and call it.
Yeah, we wanted Derek giving her a call. Tattersalls Pace, $236,000 on the line. 2-5 Confederate, 2-1. It's My Show. Here's the battle we've been waiting for. It's My Show is going to be in the winner's circle in 2 minutes after Derek Givner called it.
Well, we got the field for the Tattersalls lined up behind the gate. 236,000 on the line. Race 13 on the 15 race card. Kentucky Futurity Day. Here they come. On the way to go, center of the track, we have For Once in My Life and Hungry Angel Boy, both gunning out for their lead. In between horses is Bugaboo Lou, and along the inside, it's My Show. Confederate, the heavy favorites, looking for a spot early, coming away in 5th so far. Maybe he'll tuck in, maybe he'll go on. Going on to the front now is number 8, Hungry Angel Boy. Bugaboo Lou is making a move along with Confederate. Tim Tetrick asking for a little bit more, trying to move him up there. Bugaboo Lou is taking the lead now. Hungry Angel Boy back to 2nd. Confederate's moving up on the outside. For Once in My Life is going to be 4th as soon as Confederate clears the lead. In 5th, we have It's My Show. 26-4 is a pretty nice opening quarter there. And it's Confederate up on the outside, trying to wrestle away the lead from Bugaboo Lou. Dave Miller is seesawing in the bike, trying to calm that one down and trying to let Confederate go. And it looks like they must be going pretty fast here as they head by the half in 53-3. So Confederate certainly had to work for the lead, and he's going to have to earn this one. Bugaboo is pulling the pocket. Dave Miller just simply cannot hold this horse. And these two are going at it here. Bugaboo on the outside and Confederate on the inside, with Hungry Angel Boy sitting in a nice spot. It's My Show is on the outside now on the move, and he's going to work his way up into 4th. Along the inside is For Once in My Life, and a gap of 2 lengths back to Blue Hunt, Hunting the Last Dollar. At the back, it's Ants Marching and Handle Like a Porsche, 121-3 for 3/4. They're at the head of the stretch, and it's Confederate to catch, and now he has a 2-length lead. Confederate is looking pretty strong right now. Hungry Angel Boy is chasing from 2nd. For Once in My Life, angling off the pylons. It's My Show, not today. Confederate, yes. Confederate just blew this field away. What a powerhouse performance by Confederate. 2nd goes to For Once in My Life, and Hungry Angel Boy 148-2.
Easy.
What really made that call for me was at the start where Derek sighed. Here they come.
How about It's My Show? Empty.
It's a weird day.
But there was no excuse there whatsoever. That was bad.
It's My Show should still be number 1 in the poll next week.
Yeah, not
finish. I don't think so.
I ultimately want to just say congratulations specifically to Adam Bowden. I'm sure coming to the top of the stretch, he could have been on the verge of a coronary with how that mile was going. And then, Confederate was as good as he's supposed to be.
We almost got Hungry Angel Boy home for 2nd.
To be fair, too, though, like his main rival did not fire. I mean, let's just be real about that.
It was a 26-4 final quarter still.
Okay, but what I'm saying is like if the real It's My Show, like if the real It's My Show shows up off that trip,
he doesn't win.
It's supposed to be a race. It's supposed to be a race.
He doesn't win. He doesn't
How
win.
do you take anything away from Confederate?
His main rival was totally empty.
He didn't say.
2nd was 100-1.
I'm just hammering the point that there was no way Confederate would lose.
Mike is not saying that he would have won the race. He said that it would have been a race.
He might have gone 2nd.
I don't think it would have been, and that's been me that's been super low on Confederate all year now. The source of something.
The bottom line is Confederate was used hard to the front, and he blew them away.
Yeah.
End of story. Nothing else to talk about.
Yep.
If It's My Show shows up next time, so be it. I mean, he would have to destroy Confederate in the final if he wants to overtake him, in the Breeders' Crown final. And
I don't care what happens in the Breeders' Crown. It's Confederate all the way. I don't care what happens in the Breeders' Crown.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I say just give him the money. Pay him the money. Run it for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Remember what happened to Tall Dark Stranger too? I mean,
that was at Hoosier.
At Hoosier by 100-1 shot.
And no one when he's racing at the Meadows.
It can happen.
When he's racing at the Meadows with Brady Brown, no one says this guy beat Tall Dark Stranger.
Ray Derek, I feel like this will be one of your two's realms. So Confederate with this victory now, 1,230,000 for the year so far. Is that a significant number? I mean, what's our top yearly earnings or whatever?
Is it 1.4? Well, that's for a 2-year-old. I don't know if for a 3-year-old.
What are you trying to figure out here?
So Confederate now has made $1,230,000 this year. Where does that rank in terms of yearly earnings by a horse? And obviously, we still got a Breeders' Crown, potential TVG fights. There's a lot more money theoretically still available. Where's that rank in amongst the ranks of a season?
But Pacers, Trotters, everyone
I guess Pacers, because Trotters, Hamilton,
$3-year-old colt Pacers.
Yeah, maybe 3-year-old colt Pacers. Maybe we'll just stick to that.
Some beach somewhere at $2.4 million.
Okay, well, we're not there yet.
There's like 10 that have earned over $2 million.
Yeah, no,
wow. Okay.
the money was great. The Woodrow Wilson used to be $1 million race. That was in 1980 something.
But that was a 2-year-old race. These are 3-year-olds.
I know, but I'm just saying the money back then too. Like we think it's great now. They went for $1 million back. That's
It's still pretty good now.
It's still pretty good, but I mean, you know how many ham sandwiches you could buy if you won that race? That's incredible.
Especially all these sire stakes programs and all these layups. Look at today. Some of these layups for 100,000 or 60,000. I mean, it's
hell. I mean, I'm PA bred. I should try and enter some of those races.
Keep in mind, this guy Confederate's going to end up racing this is his 11th start, 12, 13, 14 starts this year. If you look at the list of the leaders, with the exception of Some Beach Somewhere, who was 14 for 15, it's like 29, 18, 25, 25, 26. So he really hasn't started quite as much as others, but he really hasn't needed to, So I don't know. I'm out of here. See you later.
Well, thank you, Derek Gibbard, for joining us and a fantastic 13th race call. And just about 2 more to go here on this Red Mile card. An open 4 comes up next. The 3-year-old Kentucky Futurity. Ray, I suppose we'll have time.
This is my last moments here. You're right. You're such a good host.
Are you out the rest of the way after this too?
Most likely, because I got 2 more releases to do.
While we have you quickly, 2 questions. The most important one. So race 15. Give us the Kentucky Futurity thoughts from you.
Ari Ferrari J is going to probably try and go for the lead. I don't like that. Bambino's been coming from off the pace. That could be good for him. I want nothing to do with Curious how Air Power is going to progress because he was incredibly even against Tactical Approach. Who can race. Tactical Approach to me looks like a rebuff kind of mile, depending on what they try to do. He might just be the best. It might not. Beyond that, honestly, it's either Air Power or Bambino for me. It's going to be one of those 2. That might be a play.
All right, as soon as we go to this interview, which is probably momentarily, we're going to have to cut off for you, Ray, and I know you got stuff to do. But
I also have to get it. So
Cumberland Run is coming next. Any insight on that 5/8 track? I think they start next Sunday, right?
I had people asking me in interviews as if I knew that this track existed. I didn't find out until everyone else did a couple of weeks ago. It's a 2-week meet from what I understand. It's run by Corbin because traditionally they used to do the Corbin meet at the Red Mile. It's a 5/8 track somewhere in southern Kentucky. It's still kind of towards the border of Tennessee, but more towards Knoxville than Nashville. Nashville is going to be more Oak Grove. Cumberland Run's going to be more towards Knoxville. And it's just they were doing that meet at the Red Mile the last couple of years. It's just transplanting to this new facility that I don't know who runs it beyond Corbin. That's all the information I have.
All right, 9-3 Orioles. We are officially on the comeback trail, Ray. We're going to come back in this game. It's only the 4th inning.
All right, yeah, they'll come back as much as I will onto the stream. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you to Ray Catolo for joining us. And with that, we'll go and take our 2-minute timeout here because I'm sure we're going to get an interview momentarily. It'd be interesting to hear what Yannick has to say here after that victory with Confederate, or Tim Tetrick, rather, with Hollywood Hayden. And we are back with our group of 4 here after the 13th race. Good interview there. I'll ask my panelists' thoughts on it. They can add to this if I missed anything, but I think I wrote it all down here. So Tim Tetrick, I said Yannick before the break, Tim Tetrick with Confederate, saying, of course, that Dave Miller's horse there in the pocket was really crappy, and, they went a fast half. And even Tim mentioned that the front end really hasn't necessarily been the place to be today, but he said his horse felt great at the top of the stretch, and the exact quote was he touched him once, and he just raced right out of his skin. So a fantastic effort there through the stretch we saw. Trainer Brett Pelling saying 2 or 3 races left for Confederate this year in his career before he retires. The Breeders' Crown Eliminations, definitely a week off coming up, of course. Breeders' Crown Eliminations, the Breeders' Crown, and he hinted possibly one more after that. I think that would be the allusion to potentially those FanDuel championships if they choose to go that route. And, I don't know if this was public knowledge or what people knew of it, but he mentioned a midweek hiccup. Had a blemish, a laceration on his knee. They did have to staple that, but clearly that was no issue for him today, John.
No, clearly not. And I like the fact that he left the door open for the FanDuel, right? I mean, 2 to 3 starts. That's the Breeders' Crown elimination, then the final. And I really hope we get to see him square off against some of those older pacers. But he's just the best. I don't know if we can really. It's hard to compare so many horses to some beach somewhere, but he's got to be the closest thing to it, right?
Mike?
Who would you want, Confederate versus, say, your tattoo artist? Your By the Missiles. That's a race.
It is a race, and I'm still taking Confederate, but I want to see it. That's the point. I want to see it. Like, if we're not going to see him race at 4, and they don't owe us anything, but just give us this. Please, just give us that at least.
So, Thomas, this is really your area of expertise when it comes to kind of breeding and then that kind of world. So, I mean, is there repercussions, you think, for Team Confederate when it comes to if they choose to race in that race? Do they gain a lot more benefits by potentially beating By the Missile and older horses, or do they theoretically stand to lose something if they lose that race?
Yeah, I don't think, like, as a breeding stallion, I'm very, like, I had a feeling that he's going to be running in Kentucky with the program they have down there. Is the feeling I have. I don't think it matter anything if he wins or if he loses that race. He's been so good. He's been winning if he win the Breeders' Crown, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matter anyway, because he's been like, we had Bulldog last year, and like he gonna be like one of the top most expensive. I think Tall Dark Stranger open up on $20,000 stud fee. I think this will maybe be close or maybe a little more. Confederate, I wouldn't be shocked.
Mike, definitely a strong effort today from Confederate, and some good quotes there from our connections after the race. And I guess we have a couple more races to look forward to. But I think we discussed this a little bit on this show and kind of stuff in the background on Bulldog last year. It's kind of the same thing for Confederate. It's kind of a shame the way just the industry works in general, that obviously, thoroughbred, standardbreds, we saw with Flightline, right? I mean, it just happens, but you get such a good horse, people start to kind of make it a little bit of a household name, even Flightline for that matter, even outside of, just the racing world per se. And then, of course, we throw them to the breeding shed.
Yeah, I mean, a horse like that, I think that that's the right move, honestly. If you own the horse, the problem is the insurance is really high to be able to keep them racing and things. I mean, they're worth more than they are, they're worth more in the shed than they are to be racing. And then they have to protect their investment. You can't blame them, just like with Flightline. I mean, look what happened with him. The amount of money it would cost to insure that horse to race, and it just wouldn't matter, like, to them. The money is really incidental, is get him off to the shed and let's see what he has there. I can't say as I blame him. If I owned the horse, I probably would do the same thing.
Also, unless Dave Miller...
Yeah, I can say a little about, like, when I said there about the value on the horse. If I calculated that he's going to stand for, say, ish 20,000, I think the shares will sell for around 75, 80, and then there's 120 shares. So he have a value on almost $10 million. So
Thomas, do you know, like, what would it cost to insure that horse for next year, you think?
I don't know what I think it is one. I think it is at least 1 or 1.5%, if I'm not wrong. of the value. So the problem is if you value him for 10 million and you're going to insure him, maybe some of them give you a little discount, because many people wants to insure him, but it is it is a crazy number, and yeah, it is expensive. If I think it would be at least over 100,000, just to insure him.
Mike, am I being as bad as Ray in the background here? I promise I'm done. I'm working on a couple of pretzels.
What are you eating?
I'm working on pretzels.
We have 50 breaks and you have to eat during the damn show?
Someone's got to be Ray, if not Ray.
Oh, my God. Well, he was eating, though.
Oh, he was today? I didn't even know it was that.
What do we got to the next race here? We got more races.
Yes, we have 4 minutes here listed on the 14th, and we're kind of winging this on the fly. I think we're going to let's take like a 3.5 minute break, take a longer break. When they go to the gate for this 14th, we'll come back on the other side, chat the 14th, because this is just an open $14,000 in the last, not one of our major races. And then we'll come back, and we'll be with you the rest of the way through the Futurity. We'll talk the Futurity, we'll recap it, and we will wrap ourselves up here for the day. So I think that's a good tentative plan. But race 14, of all the four of us, if anyone's going to bet it, it's probably John. So John, we got anything here in an open 4? I mean, we just saw an 80-1 upsetter in an early race. The betting money doesn't matter whether it's a $500,000 race or a $14,000 race. So still money to be made.
Yeah, I don't really I wasn't in love with any of one of these rivals races, to be honest. His beats Hanover. Maybe he's probably the one. I think maybe he's just better racing on the lead. He was kind of out the route most of the mile last time up, but that's not really anything of value. I just thought that he did get towed into it, but he was on the outside for a long time. I think that he's probably the best horse in this race. Jagger Rocks right now is favored off getting crushed in a qualifier and going to new connections, but I really think it's going to be tough to beat his beats Hanover in here.
Alrighty, well, Mike, did you get a chance to look at this? Do we have any opinions? And by the way, to set the betting board, it's kind of a 2-horse betting race here too. Jagger Rocks even money for Tim Tetrick. His beats Hanover for Andy McCarthy 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, I took a quick look, and I don't know. The other horse in the race, I think, might be the 10. But the post. I mean, this horse has won 6 times this year. You get Yannick, huge driver upgrade. Has raced okay over the racetrack in fast races, and probably needs a setup and needs a trip. But you get right now 11-1. I mean, that's basically the third choice right now is 11-1 in the race.
Thomas, race 14 started a late double. How are we going to bet this open 4?
I think number 4, his beats Hanover, is crushing this race. I think it's 1-4-10. It's like we mentioned the points there with Yannick up on number 10. The Rock's just going to get bet after get destroyed in a qualifier, new connection from Twaddle to Elliott, but his beats Hanover. He looks on the paper to be the horse to beat. So.
Well, they are starting to make their way onto the track, and I guess I should have mentioned earlier a couple of changes. We do have Ideal Ace scratched here from the 14th, and Crown has been a scratch from the 15th and final. Again, this one here in open 4, that $450,000 Kentucky Futurity on the horizon coming up soon here with race 15. But for now, just make sure we don't forget to do it. We'll probably try to wrap up our show kind of quickly once we finish out the Kentucky Futurity. So we'll get the promo stuff out of the way now. So, Mike, Nahu pick stuff as usual, or daily picks. Good site to check out for all of the harness racing needs you have, including pretty much just about every track that we talk about here on the Money Media for our different shows.
Yeah, I was glad you mentioned that on the podcast this week, too. I appreciated that between you and Johnny, getting some Nahu love in there. And, so Meadowlands will be back soon. Woodbine Mohawk. Kevin does Meadows. We got some Hoosier plays. We'll definitely have plenty of Breeders' Crown coverage in there for those eliminations and the finals. So look for that. And we got some other racetracks there, too. Rosecroft, that's a big one that's come back. It's wall-to-wall coverage. We usually have something every single day. So guys that bet horses, it's all free. We've been doing it for over 5 years. I mean, if you Google harness racing picks right now, what comes up first? NahuPicks.com.
Mm-hmm.
John, for you, obviously busy working up there at Woodbine Mohawk Park. We saw you this past weekend. We saw you yesterday, first and foremost. Give us a little insight on Jimmy Freight night. Jimmy Freight does come back a winner indeed. And, of course, a little bit of rest for you. But quickly, next weekend, a couple, I think, $300,000 each, correct? Gold Sire Stake finals.
Yeah, that was a big night. It was fun to see Jimmy Freight come back to the races and get the job done. Just as a fan of the sport, I didn't think he would. I thought he was a fade last night. I know the qualifiers were good, but I thought there were some other horses won some big miles. And obviously we saw the Jimmy Freight Stakes. It's pretty cool to see a race named after a sire, especially who's still racing. But it just wasn't really a fair race because Resilience has just been above and beyond the best of the crop of Jimmy Freight. But we've got the super finals next week, though, Edison, spread out over 2 days next week. And because of the Breeders' Crown eliminations, that's why they decided to spread it out this year. And I believe I'll be joining you guys on a podcast, I think, whenever you guys are set to do it. I guess you guys are going to cover, are you going to cover both nights, though, or are you just going to cover the Saturday?
We're just going to cover the Saturday stuff. But yeah, Mike, we got to get John in the mix, right? Between you, me, Ray, and John. I think we've done the Brood of the Mohawk work this week. So
one last hurrah. We got to do it.
And our thanks, gosh, I don't know. I don't know where to start. I don't want to leave anybody out, but Murray Slough, I know, did quite a few in there. Garnett Barnsdale, Robert Jr., a lot of people did a lot of stuff for that Mohawk stuff. So, of course, grateful for all of them. I think Kevin Plaucher was on at least more than one. So, a lot of contributors to those different shows. But Thomas Svensson is one of our big contributors on our Sweden stuff. And Thomas, next Saturday, will be returning back over to Sweden at Solvalla for one more major race there. And then Eskilstuna next month for the Swedish Breeders' Crown. And you can plug, of course, listeners can connect with you on social media.
Yeah. I've been very little quiet on. I was very much more active before on Twitter. I'm Travkonsulenten on Twitter, or my name, Thomas Svensson. You can follow me there on Twitter. I had the podcast before with Marcus Johansson. How are you? Well, maybe we're gonna reborn that one. I should, because I have so much in my mind talking about the harness racing over here. I'm also working with horses every day, buying and selling and training and do everything. I'm helping Lucas Wallin every day. So was in Kentucky for the sale. I'm heading to Lexington for the sale. Harrisburg for the sale there. And in the end of the year, end of November, me, Lucas, and Marcus Melander with girlfriends and family going to Honolulu for 2 weeks to relax.
Alrighty, well, let's see. For our people that have already left, Kevin Plaucha, definitely find him on social media, on Twitter, X, whatever it is. Yeah, Mike does a lot of great work for you for Iowa Picks, so definitely worth following Kevin, all of his work he does for the Meadows. For Derek Givner, he is, of course, the editor of DRF Harness, so DRF Harness, a lot of great content there as well. The weekly newsletter, you can sign up for that. It comes out every Thursday. I always enjoy reading that towards the end of my week. And for Ray Cotolo, you know what? He's done a lot of great work down there at the Red Mile, this Grand Circuit meet. Does a lot of press stuff there, a lot of writing assignments for him. And this is my opportunity, I guess, to thank him, John Piasek, John Herman, and next week, Rich Matei. I've been out of town quite a bit, so I've had a lot of different announcers fill in for me at Freehold. So grateful for all of them, of course. And Peter Kleinans. Peter Kleinans called for me today, too. So I've had a lot of fill-in announcers there at Freehold recently. But I've called 4 cards in a row now, so I'm starting to get back into the workflow. Back into the Yonkers workflow, too. A couple good races there at Yonkers. So you can find me calling races at Freehold, Yonkers, or on this feed, I suppose. And besides that, in the Money Media here stuff for us. We've got the Breeders' Crown shows coming up 2 and 3 weeks from now. Our final Mohawk show comes up next Saturday. Sweden shows next Saturday and November 18th. And beyond that, we will look forward to a lot more content in 2024 as well. And thank everyone for tuning in this year. It's been a fantastic year in the Money Media for the harness side of things, and we will look forward to continuing to roll on. And the last thank you, Wendy Ross, who was with us earlier. She's busy down there working for the U.S. Trotting Association. And once again, we thank them in particular, as they're the ones who sponsored this live stream and brought this to you here today to discuss these Red Mile Stakes. So we're thankful for the USTA for their partnership here with the Money Media to bring you this great coverage. And as we wrap that up, it looks like we are just about ready to move our way into line for this 14th race. So final thoughts before we take our little longer break here, John. 6-5, 8-5, Jagger Rocks, Hisby 10 over there. Still the only 2 taking money here. Lazy Jane, a little bit of money at 8-1, though. Maybe that posts a bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, it is a bit of a disadvantage. I honestly have a feeling that the force price is just going to plunge to 3-5 when the gate rolls, though.
All right, we'll see. Producer AJ going on and tossing that feed up. And I guess we should also thank producer AJ for all of his great work here for our 2.5-hour show here. But as they start to move away into the line, we're actually not going to show this one. We're going to go on and cut away. We're going to take a 3.5-minute break. We'll be back on the other side. When we come back, we're going to be here the rest of the way until the end of the next race, and that is the 131st Kentucky Futurity right around the corner. All right, John. Gunnar Henderson, home run, 10-5. Rangers still up, only the bottom of the fifth inning. Come on, give me some hope. We're not over yet. And there's another single, another base runner. John, you are muted.
You got to get a rally going, Edison. But, man, those Texas bats have just they're so streaky this year, and they've just come alive in the playoffs.
Well, Mike, that was a big upset. I believe I heard Gabe Pruitt saying the call 31-1, skimming up the inside there. Winwood Jack wins, and for that matter, neither favored anywhere to be seen in the top three. His beat 10 over on the lead, had nothing to offer in the stretch. Jagger Rocks just not able to get there late. These should be some pretty darn good payoffs. You came up with 6-2-5-1 as your top four.
Well, I think the ticket that was given out on the show here by somebody watching had all in this race. That was a smart move. You get 30-1, and this horse won last time. Obviously, had a win over the racetrack back on September 3rd in a race where they were all bunched together at the eighth pole. I think anything could have won. You got the inside trip, and that's a huge upset. That's going to really spice up these exotics now.
That's a good point. That was a great usage of the all button for sure, but not to diminish that, but John, as a gambling mom, when you think about this, is this the kind of race where, I don't want to say you don't want to use the all button, but does the all button work less in the spot, do you think? Because a lot of people might have been thinking, oh, I can single Twinbee Joe Fresh, I can single, you know, Confederate. Then if I go wall, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it possible in that logic more people could have had this longer price? Or you still think it's going to pay pretty well?
No, absolutely. I think you're spot on. I don't think it's going to pay as well as you think, even with this price, because I think everybody had the same mindset that this is a quote unquote spread race, right? I mean, the first two winners were basically on everybody's tickets. And then now everybody saw this race, had no opinion, and they definitely spread. This isn't 31-1 and pick multis, not even close to it. You're still going to see some very, very short payoffs because of people having the same mindset. I think good idea to maybe like spread in this race, but I think that I think that you could very well see like a losing payoff even on this ticket for $1.
Second longest shot, though. I mean, second longest shot.
I still think it's going to pay
people going
well.
deep, but are they going 9 deep? I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's going to pay maybe slightly less because of what the first two legs were, but I still think it's going to pay well. And more importantly, the way this betting board complex together, I'd be curious to see the actual distribution in the pick 4 in this race, because in my opinion, I never saw the 1 and the 4 as that clear of betting standout, but clearly the public did. So there could be a really large percentage on those two.
I really think that this pick 4 is going to pay for $1 is going to pay less than $50 on tactical approach.
Well, we should have some. I think it'll be more than that. We should have some will pays. Mike can maybe get us some will pays, or someone get us some will pays when they come back around here. But we'll see what we have. But either way,
I have them for you, John. You should look at them because the least payoff for $2 is $400.
These are huge,
and all the rest of them are over $1,000.
Tell you one thing, these are absolutely huge. I can't believe they're
ridiculous.
These are huge. Wow, these are actually.
So the guy that bet that ticket or gave out that ticket, good luck getting your ticket home because you're alive.
So Mike, what do we have? So that was a $54 ticket for $1. So the 2 horse for $1. 2 Celebrity Bambino.
The 2 $625.
$625 for $1.
Yeah,
$625 OL
for $1.
These are stupid big.
Oh well, the 5. So it's almost $700 for $1.
And the 7 Tactical Approach by the favorite.
That's the short one. It's $202 for $1.
But still, 3-1 on your money on that pick 4 with those first 2 prices. That's good work there from JD. So we'll be rooting for you. Hopefully, we'll go on and get this pick 4 home for you. But race 15, that is next, and I am waiting. Mike, maybe you have it on the AEWs before it appears on screen here. How many minutes? What do we have on the board for this Kentucky Futurity?
Let's see. Hold on. It's not quite up yet on mine.
All
so
right,
maybe it's not quite posted.
I suppose we'll get some sort of time. I don't know. What did they add? I guess they added light because they did that night car, right? 8 minutes. 8 minutes to post here. So we have lights. I guess they could theoretically, but I think we're going to go and get it done here at about 6:30, 6:35, which is kind of what we thought. We'd go off here for this Kentucky Futurity. And opening flash of the tote board, 8-5. 8-5 Tactical Approach. Again, a scratch of the 1 crown. The 11 Kierkegaard will start in that second tier regardless, even with the scratch. But at least with the field of 10. And last order of business before we turn the page. Well, with the gaps where they are, our races for drivers and trainer titles are over. So Todd McCarthy will be leading driver here this Grand Circuit meet at the Red Mile. And Ron Burke will be the leading trainer. And, race 15, the big one is up next. So, Mike, start our analysis here for the big one.
Well, I mean, this is a good race because I think that these horses are pretty even. They've taken turns beating each other. A lot of them have made a lot of money this year. Tactical Approach won the Handbull, but was a big price, and then shipped to Lexington. Has been there ever since, and had a brutal trip in that Kentucky Sire Stakes final. Now, last week sort of ride the ship, really took no prisoners. But this is it's not just him. I mean, I think Well is a horse that has a big chance. I think Celebrity Bambino has righted himself. He's got 2 straight, won that Canadian Trotting Classic up at Woodbine. Ari Ferrari likes this racetrack. French Wine has raced well here. I think Point of Perfect, I mean, that's another horse that I've liked. I know that, he's drawn wide. He gets a new pilot, but I do think he's a horse that's a long shot that can maybe, get a little piece of this ticket. I mean, upsets do happen here. This is a really good race. And I know that right now, Tactical Approach is 6-5, too short in this race.
Well, another big trot race. Again, Thomas obviously working closely with a lot of these connections. So, Thomas, what expert advice do you have for us on this 15th and final race from the Red Mile?
Go through a little the horses. Celebrity Bambino has been sharp when he was up in Canada, but he needs to have the trip. If he can get a helmet, he is sure can win the Futurity or Ferrari J if they try to be aggressive with him. I think it's gonna be a long home stretch for RFR. I like him when he's racing from a helmet. He can get a little too grabby. Cecil Hanover, he is right now 9-1. In my opinion, he don't have a chance to win the Futurity. So I'm gonna toss him out. 5-0 is the best horse when it comes to class and like that, but he's not the hardest worker. He won last time easy, but many times you expect him to win, and he don't fight, in my opinion, so hard as many as the other. But on talent wise and like that, is definitely a play. I think he's racing with no shoes. I expect them to do that on him. Sex Air Power is the horse with he is so fast, that horse. If he can just keep his gait together. He kept his gait together last time when he was just third, kicking home 27-1. 9-1 power. I would definitely have some bucks on him. The 9-1. I love the horse. I was a little critical to Matthias Melander went first off with Seeker Rolo. It have to work out the trip for him with their power if he's gonna be a player. But he's definitely won the tactical approach. I know Scott Saron has been very, very sour on himself when he lost the New Jersey Sire Stakes final when Point of Perfect made a break and he was too far away. The same thing happened when he was sitting last to the half with them in the Kentucky final there. And last time he was aggressive with him. I think he's going to be aggressive with tactical approach, and sure he should have a decent job. But 9-5 now it's wide open. French Wine always do good races post 8. It's just in the mix. 9 Point of Perfect. Nope. I don't think you have the class to beat them. So 10 Killmeister, no shoes. I think it was last time too when he won 1 on 50, but from the 10 hole, you need to have so much luck. 11 Kierkegaard K, no shot. So it is a wide open race. I like OL and I like Air Power, especially with the odds 5-1 and 8-1. But my rank is 5, 7.
John, we are now 3 minutes on the board here. $20,000 guaranteed trifecta pool, and I'll put you on the spot here with some trivia because it's a miracle. I think I actually know the answer to these questions. Okay, so third leg of the Triple Crown in 2023. The first leg of the Triple Crown is what race and who won it this year?
First leg of the Triple Crown is the I don't even know. Putting me on the spot.
Mike?
It's Yonkers Trot is the first leg.
Won by?
Oh, who won? I forget.
Thomas?
One more time. I didn't pay attention. I was paying attention to Boros there on Bengals.
First leg of the trotting Triple Crown was the Yonkers Trot. Who won it this year?
Is it Up Your Dale?
No? That is correct.
Was it Up Your Dale?
Yeah.
Yep, Up Your Dale won. JD caught that in the comments. It was Up Your Dale won. Okay, second leg of Triple Crown, John. Grace?
Ambletonian.
Ambletonian won by Tactical Approach, though. Chance here for Tactical Approach. Take 2 of 3 legs. Triple Crown. Last trotting Triple Crown winner. I think I know this correctly. Not from the year, though.
Marion Marauder?
Yep.
Yeah, and I think 2016, 15?
Yeah, right.
And he won the total of those 3 races with a head. All 3 wins was on a photo finish.
And he was prices too in a couple of them.
To be fair, I think it's pretty rare nowadays. We kind of see even a horse in all 3. Like I was thinking about that with the pacing Triple Crown too. Like we just didn't see that many horses even take on all 3 races. Messenger Pace did not include the likes of Confederates. My show
wasn't it Wiggle and Jiggle It? Didn't he win it?
And the Jug and the Cane.
I think he did.
Yeah, I believe so. It's been a couple years, but at least recently, last couple years, haven't really seen horses. And likewise here, Tactical Approach was not even in the Yonkers Trot, let alone chance to win Triple Crown. But anyway, John, they're starting to step away onto the track, so we will get your opinion of the race shortly. But to introduce our field, I guess I'll kind of follow in the background. We won't show it, but I'll at least talk through the post parade here and give the horses their due diligence for this $450,000 131st Kentucky Futurity 3-year-old trotters. The final leg of the 2023 Triple Crown, a scratch of the 1 crown. 2 is Celebrity Bambino, Yannick Gingras, trainer Ron Burke, Burke Racing Stable, J&T Silva Stables, Knox Services, and Picalora, the co-owners. A 150-4 mark at the Meadowlands earlier this year. 9 lifetime wins and nearly $800,000 in the bank. For Celebrity Bambino was the favorite in last year's Breeders' Crown and finished, I believe, second in that race. Area Ferrari J, this was a $620,000 purchase. It's Dexter Dunn for trainer Tony Alanya and Kenneth Jacobs owns. The Walner Colt, 6 lifetime wins, $750,000 banked, and the lifetime mark came actually in his last start here in the Kentucky Sire Stakes final at the Red Mile, 150-3. The 5 Oh Well is Tim Teetrick for Marcus Melander, the SRF stable of Florida, 7 lifetime victories, $1.25 million, last year's Mohawk Million winner. 6 Air Power, Matthias Melander for Marcus Melander, the AMG stables are Walstead, K. Jelgren, Air Power, 5 wins from 12 lifetime starts, $328,000 in the bank. Tactical Approach, the Hamiltonian winner, Scott Zeron for trainer Nancy Tactor, Robert LeBlanc, John Fielding, Joe Spracco, and JAF Racing co-own. 9 for 19 lifetime, $788,000 earned, and obviously a big chunk of those winnings this year coming in the Hamiltonian. French Wine, Andy Miller for trainer Julie Miller, the Andy Miller stable, D&J Plouffe, and One Legend stable of Florida co-own. 7 wins, $750,000. Point of Perfect, Todd McCarthy for trainer Ron Burke, Burke Racing Stable, Hatfield Stables, J&T Silva Stables, and Knox Services. Point of Perfect, winner of a Hamiltonian limb, I believe that's correct, or won quite a few going into the Hamiltonian limb. 3 lifetime wins, $300,000 earned. Killmister, Brian Sears, Marcus Melander, Courant Incorporated. Tough post-10 draw here, but did win last week at Lexington. 8 lifetime victories, 150-3. The lifetime mark came just last week. Second tier, Kierkegaard, Mark McDonald for Ocas Fonstead. Knutson, Trotting Incorporated of Florida owns. 5 lifetime wins from 20 lifetime starts, $370,000. And somewhere in there, I probably talked through it, the 4 Cecil Hanover. Ocas Fonstead trains, drives the SRF stables, Midnight Sun Partners, Ocas Fonstead, and Jorgen Speridal co-own. 5 wins from 18 lifetime starts, $365,000 in earnings. So,
Thomas, were you there last year when Lucas won or no?
Yeah, I was there. I was working with Lucas on when we won with Rebuff. Yeah,
and a big 10-1 price, 3-5 favorite in the Hamiltonian, and 10-1 last year on Rebuff in the Kentucky Futurity. But John, we're waiting your thoughts here as they are on the track here for this Kentucky Futurity 6-5 Tactical Approach.
Yeah, I mean, Tactical Approach, this was a horse earlier this year that I jokingly told my dad, I said, I think you're looking at the Hambo winner. And this is after his first few races at the Meadowlands. I was really high on this guy. And he kind of tailed off this in the New Jersey Sire Stakes final. Wasn't the best driver, the best trip. But then I saw some other trotters in that division kind of elevate themselves to being, I thought, rated higher. Post position didn't work out, but he ended up getting the job done. That being said, he's not really the most consistent trotter either, right? I mean, we've kind of seen him tail off. He got beat 2 starts back as the 1-5 choice. I can't say anybody in this group is consistent. I think Oh Well is consistent in big races and in being right there. And I think that's something that you have to really value here. I think 4-1 is a great price. I'm still of the belief that Air Power is probably the most talented trotter in this group, but at the same time, it's like you almost grimace when you watch him because he kind of makes breaks. You're kind of waiting for him, like what's going to happen. If he's not as it doesn't trot the smoothest, but I think that he's got the most potential in this group. Drawing post position 6, you have to figure that Scott's going to want to put this guy in a good position. But if you want to go price shopping, maybe Ari Ferrari J is a guy who you can really expect again to be right there, and maybe with the stalking trip. But Oh Well's going to position himself out. What's he going to get at worst? The 2-hole in this race, and we've seen him in the finals. Even in the Hambo elimination, we saw him in the final. He's just always right there. If they are making equipment changes, maybe that's the result in him racing a bit better. He faced a cheap bunch last time out and beat them off a perfect trip, but he might offer more. He might offer more here, as Thomas has mentioned. Like I said, when we don't know the shoeing changes here, it really changes the complexion of the race and how we want to handicap. I think sometimes you have to just make wagers based on hoping that there's a shoeing change, because we see these guys always tinker with that in these big races.
How about the horses getting lost right now? Ridiculously, Celebrity Bambino 10-1 right now. This horse hasn't been anywhere near that. I mean, does this horse like what happens? Is it like lose a leg or something? Like what's going on here? Like this is just ridiculous.
I think it's just the fact of the matter is, even when I spoke to Yannick, he's had really bad luck in big race. Like he's never been able to win the big race. The Canadian Trotting Classic, that was the first time he was able to actually get the job done. Somebody did pull up in front of him and he was able to kind of follow cover. And Yannick even said himself, hey, I wasn't going to Up Your Day was the one who pulled out of the 2-hole, but he said, I wasn't going to win if OK doesn't pull out there. So he's a horse that honestly he's very, very trip dependent.
Fantastic. I'm glad we're talking about this because he's 10-1, and I just wanted to pop in here and go back to my work to say this horse should not be 10-1. He's an absolute must play, even if he loses.
I said it before.
Thanks for having me, Mike. See, this is why Mike was my co-host for at least the last 20 years. He was my Ed McMahon. He was my Andy Richter, because in moments like this is where he truly shines and understands. Not half of you who look at this horse and go, "Oh, he's tripped about. He's 10-1. Tactical approach is 6-5." That's the story. Thanks for having me. I got to go.
I wonder if Gabe's going to drag this out so he can get his 20,000 in this trifecta because nobody's betting it. Somebody, Thomas, get in there and fire a couple thousand in this trifecta pool.
Yeah, $20,000 guaranteed trifecta pool. 10,000.
That's why that. Yeah. It's some of the races I understand is Kentucky Futurity, but I had that discussion with Gabe before down there. Some of the races get dragged 30 minutes because they need to get the pools. If they had the information about the shoeing information, then I will have the pool straight away. So that will be easy. Then I will go in. I can't bet this race when I don't know who is racing with shoes or not shoes.
All right, starting gate, getting ready to move in the position for the Futurity. Let me give you your final rundown if you want all sorts of numbers for the record. I like tactical approach, not at that price. I will take the 6 air powered 8-1 for my top choice. Wendy gave you a 7-5-3-10. Kevin Plaucha also on the 7 tactical approach. Derek Givner somewhere between the 6 and the 7. Ray Catolo 2-6. He seems really intrigued by the Celebrity Bambino price. Jessica Otten on the simulcast feed giving out 7-5-3. Hollywood Hayden 7-2-5. So that's 2 more votes for tactical approach. And the starter is ready to call them in here for the 131st Kentucky Futurity. 9-1, Celebrity Bambino and Yannick Gingras. Ari Ferrari J and Dexter Dunn at 5-1. 7-1, Cecil Hanover and Okas Fonstad. There's one we didn't talk about taking significant money. 5-1, Owell and Tim Tetrick. 8-1, Air Power Matthias Melander. 7-5, Scott Zeron and Tactical Approach, the favorites. 11-1 on French Wine and Andy Miller. And some outsiders there, 30-1. Top Point of Perfect, Todd McCarthy, Brian Sears, and Kilmister, another big long shot. And Kierkegaard K from the second tier, and Mark McDonald, another significant price here in the 131st Kentucky Futurity, $450,000 in the line. 3-year-old Colt Trotters, the final leg of the 2023 Trotting Triple Crown. Through the stretch, starting to get a little dark there in Lexington, Kentucky. But nonetheless, they are off in the 131st Kentucky Futurity. Point to perfect, looking to mix things up early. Tactical approach is floated away there from between horses. Ari Ferrari J looks to get involved as well. Down at the rail, Celebrity Bambino, but quickly point of perfect. One of those big long shots, able to cross and clear. Tactical approach is marching forward today and looks like he'll find the point here before the opening quarter as they make their way there. It is going to be Tactical Approach who has the advantage. But from the outside, Kilmister in the Carrot colors moving forward. 27-2 opening quarter. Next, the inside, Point of Perfect, the one-time leader. Quickly back to third. Owell is moving on the outer flow as well. So is Air Power. Several of them going to be parked out here. Ari Ferrari J is locked next to the inside. French Wine, another one being parked and pressing forward here. They make their way towards that half mile, and the complexion starting to shift here. Owell now to the top. Kilmister had the lead. We've had 4 different leaders already. Half mile, 55-1, 27-4 second quarter. So Owell has the lead, but quickly going to get hounded by Air Power on the outside. Kilmister's now locked at the inside third. Fourth to the outside, French Wine. Now well spotted second over despite being parked throughout. Next to the inside, Tactical Approach from Cecil Hanover. As they make their way towards 3 quarters. Air Power is off stride. Air Power's made some timely breaks this year, and there's another one. Air Power makes the break, so that allows French Wine now to continue his first over march. Next to the inside, Owell tries to battle back with that inside position. Cecil Hanover trying to move forward. Celebrity Bambino starting to come from the back of the pack in for home in the Kentucky Futurity, but French Wine has now opened up by 3. It is French Wine from Owell who's reeling back in second. Ari Ferrari J looking for racing room, as well as a Kilmister now splitting late. Up the inside, Tactical Approach trying to fly late here. It's still French Wine. How a Tactical Approach up the inside late. French Wine, Tactical Approach up in time. Wow, it's Scott Zeron not to won enough races this year. 152 flat, the 131st Kentucky Futurity. Mike, Scott Zeron, the year of the money man.
Unbelievable. And he really had no chance at the top of the stretch. I mean, oh, wow. I can't believe he won. That was ridiculous. And how about Celebrity Bambino not winning? I mean, he looked all the world like, to me, at the top of the stretch, he was winning. He looked, I mean,
tactical approach, never leaving the rail, and
right now he's got all these in front of him, so he wins the race.
Thomas, how impressive of an effort was that from Scott Zeron? Another fantastic drive, saving every inch of ground, and he needed it.
Yeah, but he didn't have any choice when Killmeister, when the Melander brigade there come, and Killmeister, you don't want to have the helmet of Killmeister, in my opinion. So, and when Andy got the couple of lengths in the stretch, I think Scotty was so pissed off because he was far behind. But when Timmy go out, and then what is Brian Sayers doing? He's going out, so that's open up for everything. But I don't know. It's going to be a good family dinner for Melanders today. When I know air power is very difficult to drive, but it was not like they gave OL anything free. But look at the time, 52, and some of the 3-year-olds is walking.
Yeah, so 152 flat, the final time, 7.82.10.3. Tactical approach first, French Wine second, Celebrity Bambino third, Killmister fourth, Ari Ferrari J fifth, 7.82.10 and 3. Congratulations, JD there. Hit that pick 4. Unfortunately, we got the shortest of those prices, but winning tickets better than losing one. And come on, John thought we were going to get $50 for that pick 4. We got a good $200 in that $54 investment. Good use of the all button there in the 14th race. And yeah, JD says Scotty Z for Dan Patch Driver of the Year. Well, I guess I'm the only one of the 4 of us that has a vote in Dan Patch
Put
Award.
it to bed. So
I think it's a pretty clear choice. I'm not even sure who my second nominee would be. I don't even know what selections I have, but just an incredible year for him, and tactical approach now, the Hambletonian winner.
Yeah, but
Thomas,
if you take Scott Saron, I'm a good friend with Scott Saron, and we discuss very much when he's choosing horses and stuff like that. But he take care of the horses. Like if you go back and see when he drove Branded by Lindy and raced by Lindy 2-year-old, they had a decent 3-year-old season. And it's like with tactical approach too. Like he had a couple of races there at Meadowlands when he go to the lead with them. Then he changed strategy, but when he lost the race to try to give him a race from a helmet. So I'm a big fan of his skill set to put in horses. You never see he's hard with the whip, and he take care of the horse when it's not an important race. And today, like, he didn't have any choice to do. That's why Scott Saron is the driver of the year. And I love him as a 2-year-old because we can't just race them as the horses, those 2-year-old after the qualifier and races. Some of the drivers, they just test them and either go to the front with them. Just see on Tim Teeter also with Confederate. How many times have he been on the front with that horse? Today, yes.
Well, 152 flat for tactical approach, $970,000 in the year. A huge year for Scott Zeron. They turning to the winner's circle now, and that'll just about wrap up what we had for you here today. We thank everyone for tuning in as always.
Yeah.
I guess
I need to leave to go for dinner. So thank you guys, and thank you guys.
Thank you, Thomas, for tuning in. We'll
appreciate you.
Catch you next time. And Mike and John, thank you guys as all. I guess my final spiel. I thank everyone for tuning in as always. Appreciate people commenting throughout the day. My kudos to Jess Gotten, Gabe Pruitt, and Hollywood Hayden for a fantastic simulcast showdown at the Red Mile. Again, a great thank you to the U.S. Trotting Association and In the Money Media for the partnership here to provide you with this live stream for Red Mile Stakes Day. Join us next week on In the Money Media. It'll be John, Mike, Guy, and Ray. The 4 of us will give you the final Mohawk show of 2023, and Mike, Thomas, and I will give you the second to last Swedish show of the year as we go to Solvalla again next Saturday. So plenty more to look forward to the rest of the season on the Money Media here. But for all my guests we've had today, for Wendy Ross, Kevin Plaucha, Derek Givner, Ray Catolo, Thomas Svensson, Mike Pribozie, John Rallis, I'm Edison Hatter. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you've had a successful day enjoying the races. Hopefully made a little bit of money along the way. Hope all your bets are winning ones in the meantime. Until we talk next time, again, 2 more shows for you we'll have next week. And thanks once again to producer AJ for his great work this afternoon. We will talk to you next time.